Come On by Pushing Daisies. That is the official Grey Cup song as we get set for the 3-minute drill. All right, Sean Millington first. You won a Grey Cup with Steve Barato in BC. Your reaction to his firing in Calgary?
Well, it is a little surprising, Elliot, but Steve Barato does run some complicated schemes, and at times this year, Henry Burris hasn't looked very comfortable running them. So you say to yourself, if I'm the GM in Calgary, I've got Henry Burris, I've got Steve Barato. Henry Burris is making a lot more money than Steve Barato is, so Steve's the one to go.
What I would say, I'm surprised by the timing of this, because really when you come out and make an aggressive firing right at the end, right after a disappointing loss, it looks emotional. What I would have done is come out and make a strong statement to the fans, and then as things simmer down, go through due diligence, the process, and potentially do that a couple weeks later.
I don't like the timing of it, but if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. Now, I don't think this says anything about Steve Barato as an offensive coordinator. I think he's very good, but you have to design your offense around the players that you have, and those players aren't going to change, so you have to change the coordinator.
All right, second Calgary question. Kahari, you first. At age 31, Henry Burris facing a bit of a crossroads with 7 days to look back. What does he have to do to take the next step as a quarterback?
I think the biggest thing Henry needs to do is really watch the films of this season and analyze. He has to look at himself. He has to be very critical of himself and say, hey, what do I need to do to improve? Because there's always time for improvement, and 31 is not very old as a quarterback.
I would say don't overanalyze. You want to look at the tapes, but you got to keep erasing the negative. What I saw in his eyes the day before the game last week is this level of intensity. He just got to calm down. Every quarterback has to deal with criticism, and in the big game, his emotions get the best of him, and he needs to be able to mature.
I think Henry's been one of those quarterbacks, guys, who's relied, a fair bit on his athleticism, on his legs, and I think that for him to take the next step, he's got to get a little bit more cerebral, be able to make sure that he's making the correct reads downfield and not depend on his legs as much.
Henry Burris is one of the sport's great guys, and you want to see him be able to pick up from this and succeed. Final question, we'll start with you, Greg. Should Roy Shivers be on the field today as the Rough Riders face the Lions?
Well, and ultimately, Roy Shivers will be probably in the tunnel in here because he's not going to be a distraction on the sidelines. The reality is he probably didn't want to buy a ticket. He called up his good friend Wally Buono and said, how can you get me into this game? So he's not going to be a distraction, but you know what, coming in here while Saskatchewan is on the sidelines playing BC,
that's a no, I think. Sean?
Yes, Roy Shivers should be on the sidelines. He is in a large way responsible for a lot of these players being here. He's put this team together, and I think this is his baby. He wants to see the fruition. He wants to see his kid grow up and, make it to the dance, and that's why I think he should be on the field.
Gary?
I agree with Sean. This is a team effort, and Roy Shivers had a lot to do with this team
Smart
and
move,
the makeup. Thank you. And everything that Sean said is right this time.
Wow.
I'll leave it at that.
Wow,
Millington's
going to wear that sign, everything I say is right, for a while. There are also reports, by the way, that Casey Printers will be here as well watching this afternoon's game as Kansas City team is in Miami, but he's not on the roster. All right, let's go back to Montreal. A few minutes away from kickoff, about 10 minutes, so set it up again. Here is Scott Russell. Scott?
Right, Elliot, the noise is picking up here in the Big O as we continue to march on towards the East Championship. You mentioned the presence of running back Eric Lapointe in the Alouette lineup. He comes back after being away 4 weeks, a broken fibula. He says he's game ready to go. He's a big game player last year. 3 touchdowns against the Argos in the East Final. There go the Skyrockets. You know what? His presence in the Alouette lineup may mean less work for all-star receiver Ben Cahoon, but Cahoon says in today's CFL, where patience is a virtue, that's okay.
It's critical to beating the Argonauts. You've got to be patient, take what they give you, stay with the run, take your shots when you have opportunities with the passing game, and avoid turnovers. If you can do that, then it turns into a field position battle.
There's Ben Cahoon, 99 receptions, 1,190 yards in the air for the Alouettes this season. He and Kerry Watkins may get most of the work in the passing attack, but watch for Robert Edwards to pound away, run the ball over and over again against the Argos. Elliot?
Thanks, Scott. And lots of rumors about Ben Cahoon. He's a free agent at the end of this year. Will he go west to be closer to his family, which is based in Utah? Okay, time for panel picks. the red-hot Sean Millington, 2-0 last week, and we start with the West, Sean.
Okay, sure, Elliot. Put me right on the spot. Well, I'm going with BC, and I think this is a great matchup for BC in that I think that their players have the edge over the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I'm going with BC just because I feel they're just that much stronger.
Well, I'm picking BC as well. The West Coast boys picking BC. Surprise, surprise. But because I believe that the BC Lions defense understands they have to contain Kenton Keith. Kenton Keith is a streaky runner. Of the 141 yards that he accumulated last week against the Calgary Stampeders, 90 of those yards came on 2 carries. And so you can't give him a crease, gap cancellation, and they understand how to do that.
Well, I'm going to disagree with both of them. I'm going to go with Saskatchewan this game. I like the emotion of this team. Now, lining up both of these teams together, I think most people would probably pick BC, but you cannot discount the emotion that Saskatchewan shows. I really liked it in Calgary, and I think they'll show the same today.
Tough decision for me, too. Very close to call, but I go with BC. And just the reason is Saskatchewan did a great job of forcing Henry Burris into mistakes last week. I think Dave Dickinson will avoid that, and that's why I like the Lions in this game. Okay, East, Sean.
Well, I'm going to have to say Toronto, Elliot. And actually, for much the same reasons that Kahari chose Saskatchewan, I feel that the emotion is on Toronto's side. I mean, on paper, I would say that the Alouettes might be a little bit stronger, but I just think Toronto has managed to find a way to win every game that they should have lost this season. So I can't bet against them.
Well, I'm picking Toronto as well because the Toronto defense understands that they cannot allow Robert Edwards to be a downhill runner. They have to make it bounce, get him to the sidelines, make him a lateral runner. They win that battle, and that's why I believe that the defense of Toronto is going to be very sound against the Montreal Alouettes.
And I'm going to have to agree with you guys on this one. I'm going to go with Toronto. I feel like Damon is due for a bounce-back game. Damon is one of those kind of quarterbacks that once you count him out, he makes things happen. I think he'll be using his legs today, and I'm looking for a big game from him.
Bad news for Saskatchewan and Toronto. Kahari is 0 for the season so far in making his picks. I go with Montreal. Anthony Calvillo is the Alouette play caller, and he is the one guy this year who's shown he's patient enough to continue running the football. They did it a couple weeks ago until the Argonauts can stop Edwards and LaPointe. Personally, I feel Montreal has to be the pick. We are done. It is time for the players to take over. We will send you momentarily to Montreal, the Argonauts and the Alouettes. It's Steve Armitage, Darren Flutie, Scott Russell. Enjoy the games, everybody.
It's the Argos and Alouettes in the battle for Eastern supremacy. The CFL on CBC. Last week, the Bombers appeared to be in command, shocking the boatmen. Pinball needed a spark and made a gutsy move. It paid off. The Argos took control and are now in the East Championship to face a very familiar foe.
The QB heads to the end zone. Touchdown. Now Calvillo has been shaken up.
Two teams seemingly destined to be in this battle. The Alouettes and the Argos will fight it out one more time as a rivalry in its 5th year takes on epic proportions. A trip to the Cup, the prize once again. Welcome to the Olympic Stadium and the Scotiabank East Championship. The winner goes to Winnipeg. The loser hangs up the gear. It's a rivalry that goes back to 1946 and never gets old. Argos and Alouettes. 2 weeks ago, Anthony Calvillo took one from the Argos to grab first place and earn the bye. Damon Allen, who's won 4 cups by his standards, did not have a good semifinal. Does the 43-year-old have something to prove after being pulled? Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Armitage along with Darren Flutie, and welcome to the Scotiabank East Championship. Well, last week the Argos beat Winnipeg, but they didn't stop Charles Roberts. Today they face a good running back in Robert Edwards.
They sure do. Roberts torched him for 179 last week, and Robert Edwards, he's the 3rd best rushing back in the CFL this year with his 1,155 yards. He's a different style back than Roberts, though. He's more of a pounded up the middle, 4, 5, 6, 7 yards a carry, as they say in a cloud of dust, or in the case today of the Big O, in a cloud of turf. And 2 weeks ago in the big win over the Argos, which clinched the East, he had 19 carries for 93 yards in that big 8-yard touchdown late in the game that sealed the victory. He needs to have an effective game today, over 100 yards for these Alouettes to win today.
Now the Argos can counter with what has turned out to be a pretty good combination in Ricky Williams and John Avery.
Yeah, it's a great combination. I mean, coming into the season, Ricky Williams was expected to be at least a 1,000-yard rusher. Well, that hasn't happened, and a lot of reasons. Maybe injuries, certainly lack of performance at times. But since these two have been in the backfield together, which has been since week 15, they played 5 football games. They've rushed for 466 yards and averaged 5.6 yards to carry. That's very good. And in that game 2 weeks ago, they had 25 carries for 134 yards. They have a game like that today that takes a lot of pressure off Damon Allen.
All right, without further ado, let's go to Darren Flutie's Rona Game Notes.
Yeah, and Tony Miles is back into the game for the Argos offensively. Miles to go. Tony Miles back in, and also this offense needs to get better. They haven't played well this year. Defensively for the Argos, don't overreact. Have to be patient. Calvillo in the receiving corps wants to do a lot of double moves, a lot of looking right, then throwing back to the left. Be patient if you're on the Argos defense. With Montreal offensively in the line of fire, the offensive line has come under fire this year. They need to play extremely well today. Protect Calvillo, open those holes for Robert Edwards. Defensively for the Alouettes, hit them with your best shot. They need hits on the quarterback. Damon Allen, indoor, Michael Bishop.
And perfect conditions for the opening kickoff here under the dome at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Avon Coburn returning for the Owls, crosses to the 33-yard line, which will be pretty good position for Anthony Calvillo and the Montreal Alouettes with their first possession in this Scotiabank East Championship. Expecting a crowd of around 34,000 here in Montreal this afternoon. Let's hope it's as noisy as it was in Rogers Centre in Toronto last week, where the Argos knocked off the Blue Bombers. 1st and 10 for Montreal. Around the 33. And they haven't even had a snap, and we got our first whistle.
Don't know what this could be early on. Maybe something with the clock or something with the sidelines.
Referee today is the veteran John Ireland.
It's exactly what happened. They didn't start the clock for the opening kickoff, and now they're going to take off about 11 seconds.
4th meeting of the season between these two traditional rivals. Montreal won the opener 31-7. Toronto came back to take the second game 31-6. And then Montreal 2 weeks ago took first place with a 24-20 win over the Argos. Robert Edwards. Let's take a look at that Montreal offensive lineup.
Oh, offensively for the Alouettes, you're going to see a lot of that guy right there, Robert Edwards. He had the big game 2 weeks ago at 19 carries, 93 yards. You need to establish Edwards in this run game. The receiving core, well, a bit criticized, but Ben Cahoon, anytime you have Ben Cahoon out there, you have a threat. This offensive line needs to come together today. Brian Chu is certainly banged up at the center position.
2nd and 8 from the 34. Flags go down. Whistles are blown. Let's hope we're not going to have one of these kind of games.
Well, Okeke at left tackle looked like he jumped. Don't know if anyone was in the neutral zone before he jumped. Yeah, that's Okeke at left tackle. And you talked about the noise. The noise is playing a factor for both sides, and he's right here at left tackle. It did look like Toronto had crossed the neutral zone. Jonathan Brown or England were both in the neutral zone. But hey, it's called on Montreal, puts them in a real tough 2nd down position.
2nd and 13, which is what AC wanted to avoid. Long 2nd downs. Fires over the middle. He's complete. He's got a man open. Kerry Watkins down inside the 35-yard line.
Well, that's some beginning for the Alouettes. I mean, you don't expect to throw the ball well against the Argos. You usually only get a few opportunities, but here we are early. 2nd and 13, we see the whole field throws the in route to Watkins, and he does the rest. Cliff Ivory in coverage. Cliff Ivory had a tough day last week against Winnipeg also. That's a matchup to watch. There's a difference between Kerry Watkins last year and this year. You know, pretty consistent. He's one of the guys that did repeat as a 1,000-yard receiver.
A 47-yard pickup, and they give to number 47, Mr. Edwards.
You know, it's interesting because everyone expects the Alouettes to come out with Robert Edwards and try to establish the run after Charles Roberts torched him for 179 last week. But hey, don't forget Anthony Calvillo's back there, and they got some pretty good receivers. Cahoon, Watkins, Terrence Edwards. And they control the football.
A gain of 3. 2nd and 7, Montreal from the 30. Calvillo underthrows his intended target. Kerry Watkins again. Let's check that Argo defense.
Well, here's the Argo defense, and well, you got to point out Eric England along that defensive line. Had the 7 tackles last week in the sack. He's playing like a man possessed through the last 5-6 games. The linebacking core, great cover guys. Winter's still in for Antonio Spano. Had the great fumble calls last week on Roberts. And there's the secondary. We saw Ivory early get burnt, but this is a great secondary. Parker, Younger, and Wheaton. They got 6 touchdowns between that secondary.
Damon Duval on to try a field goal. He was good on 51 of 59 in the regular season, as long as 50 yards. And that one is good. So the Alouettes draw first blood in this Scotiabank East Championship here in Montreal with a field goal from Damon Duval.
That's a great first drive if you're an Alouette fan, just to move the ball from your own end. And of course, it's one big play to Watkins. But again, those seem to be so rare against this Argo secondary to get those big plays. So to take advantage of it, get 3 points out of it, that's a great start for the Alouettes.
Always a key in the big games. When you get in scoring position, leave with something on the board, whether it be a single, a field goal, preferably a major score. But never come away empty.
Yeah, in the game 2 weeks ago, it was 24-20. So, you know, touchdowns aren't easy to come by with these defenses, especially the Argos. They're a low-scoring offensive team. So you put 3 up, already you got some pressure on the Argos.
And the Argos have struggled in the opening quarter throughout the course of the regular season. Damon Allen, the veteran, who was pulled by the head coach, Michael Clemens, last week against Winnipeg. Michael Bishop came in, went 3 for 3, put up 111 yards and 2 touchdowns, and that was the difference. And Mr. Allen did not like that decision.
Now, like any great football player, he never likes to be pulled out of a game and always feels he can come back and play well.
Bashir Livingston at the 10. Crosses the 20, is forced back, and then dropped down at the 15-yard line. Good special teams downfield coverage from the Alouettes. It's a 12-yard return.
Dwayne Butler, the great defensive player, in on the tackle for special teams. But I think the fear was that the Alouettes having the bye week, finishing first. And there's Butler getting to him early, getting him inside the 20, which is just huge field position. Maybe that they wouldn't come out fired up, right? They had the week off. The Argos have been in some tough games. You figured they'd be more ready than the Alouettes. Well, early on, it doesn't appear that way.
The Argos start from their own 18-yard line, trailing 3-0. Give up the middle, Ricky Williams. And Williams close to the first down.
This is why I'm starting to get excited about Williams and Avery in the backfield. I mean, they're running the ball so much better. And you watch Ricky on this one, I think it's Strickland, and just one-on-one. He's got to make this tackle, and Ricky Williams, like every great back, makes him miss and picks up that big first down.
Damon Allen. His stats from this year, remember he missed 6 games. The broken finger on his strong hand. They give to John Avery, and Avery should have the first down. Let's take a look at that Argos offense that has been consistent this season.
Yeah, well, we talked about the dynamic duo back there, Williams and Avery, and they've been so effective over the past 5 games. Look for them to establish the run today. The receiving core that played well, Palmer, big touchdown catch. But hey, Tony Miles is back in the lineup to take pressure off Arlan Bruce. Up front, watch Cliff Washburn at right tackle. He's in for Davis, who's hurt with the rib injury. That's going to be a key spot against Arkel Trueluck all day.
Nobody there. Closest to the ball was an Alouette defender. He was looking for Andre Talbot.
Well, they brought pressure, and we talked about it in the game notes. You've got to get your hits on Damon Allen. No quarterback likes to get hit, but especially a veteran like Damon Allen. Watch the blitz come from up top. There's Strickland just as he's releasing it, and he's lucky that didn't get intercepted. There's the blitz from the top of your screen, and Strickland and Butler are so quick off the edge. You don't have that 2 seconds to throw it. You really got like 1 1.25, 1.5, and you got to get rid of it.
So that brings Noel Prefontaine, the Argo punter. Averaged 46.3 yards per punt during the regular season. In 6 punts against the Bombers in the semifinal, averaging 45 yards. Low spiral, taken on the run by Coburn. And Coburn is dropped at the 45-yard line. You're watching the Scotiabank East Championship from Montreal. You're watching the CFL on CBC. 1st and 10 for the Owls. Calvillo pumps once. He's got a man open over the middle. It is complete. Jeff Piercy found a seam, and Anthony Calvillo found Piercy.
Yeah, this is that double move I talked about. He's pumping it to the slot back and then hitting the fullback right up the seam. This is what we were talking about. Argos love to jump that stuff, right? They're so aggressive on jumping routes. And Kenny Wheaton burned by the Piercy there at fullback. You got to be patient and stay back.
A gain of 30. 1st and 10 Owls from the Argos 36. Dumped over the middle. Edwards still on his feet. Edwards finally down at the 15-yard line.
Well, boy, obviously, like every week, the Alouettes come in with a plan, but a good, very good game plan early in this game. A little bit of Edwards running, a little bit out of the backfield, some big completions to both Piercy and Watkins. A lot of variety. That's what you have to do against defenses, so they can't focus on one guy.
AC, early stats, 3 for 4 for 96 yards. First down, he's got a man open again. Complete just outside the 10-yard line to Kerry Watkins.
I think you're seeing the patience of Anthony Calvillo early in this football game. He said, he even admitted, he goes, at times I'm not patient, but I have to be patient with the Argonauts because they're not always going to give you that big play. We got to run the ball well, and we got to use our short passing game to be effective, and that's what we've seen early in this football game.
2nd and 2 for Montreal from the 10-yard line. Up the middle, very little running room against a defense that has given up a lot of yards running in the last 2 games, 329 to be exact.
Oh yeah, but this is what he does well, right? They're 2nd and 3, 2nd and 2. He's that tough runner inside that can pick up the short yardage. I think they may be a little bit short. A big decision here. I would think they'd go for it. But of course they made the first down, so they don't have to go for it. This is a big drive. We talked about that field goal being huge on the first drive. As we look at Jim Pop, and I mean, the offensive coordinators are dual offensive coordinators, Kevin Strasser and Steve McAbee. They need to come away with 7 this time.
Jim Pop now 2-2 as the Alouettes head coach since taking over from Don Matthews late in the season. 1st and goal for the Owls. The ball at the 7, double tight. It's a fumble. And the Argos are there. A big turnover puts the ball in the arms of the Toronto Argonauts. The Owls lead 3-0.
Hi, Chris.
Hello.
You're watching the Scotiabank East Championship, the CFL on CBC.
Well, a huge play early in this football game. Big turnover. Watch Eric England come down inside, then Fletcher over the top, and that's what Calvillo's reading. When he sees England come down, he thinks he's going to keep it, and then he sees Fletcher loop, and I think at the last second, he tries to give it to Edwards, so he's indecisive. It's called a Sally Ram, where Calvillo has the option whether to give or boot it around the end, and that stunt made him indecisive on that play.
First and 10, Argos from their own 9. They give to Williams. Williams lowers his shoulder, crosses the 15-yard line where he's knocked out of play. Perhaps seeing the former star from the NFL for the last time in the Canadian Football League, should the Argos lose this one.
Yeah, look at what he's done for the season. Again, since Williams and Avery have been together, they've rushed the ball extremely well the last 5 football games. And you can tell early, Ricky Williams is running the ball well. He just picked up 7 yards on first down, puts you in a great 2nd and 3.
Tony Miles into the game for the Argos. 2nd and 3. And a flag is thrown. Looks like procedure.
Yeah, offensively, been a little bit ugly early. So 13 guys in the huddle. You can't play with 13, right? Or one has to run off the field, and that is illegal. Illegal substitution. So a little unorganized early. I mean, maybe a little bit of nerves, certainly. You're in the East Final. This is the game that gets you to the Grey Cup. Both a little sluggish early.
Jason Gavadsta, picked up by the Argos earlier this week, is into the ball game. 2nd and 11 from the 8-yard line. Allen, quick toss, Talbot, and Talbot is taken out at about the 12-yard line. He needed to get just shy of the 20 for the first down.
I think you're going to see the Argos go this way a lot, right at Brightfield, the weak side corner. And this is a good play in your own end. You don't pick up the first down, but you give yourself a little more space. If Talbot could have broken a tackle and pick up 3 more yards, they could have got the first. But hey, get 10 more yards, punt it away, and play your good defense that you're known for.
So Prefontaine comes on for his second punt. Got a 38-yarder the first time he kicked it. One of the better punters in the CFL. Obviously not kicking away, but he gets a good bounce and it goes out of play. I want you to log on to cbc.ca Warrior to cast your vote for the Warrior of the Year. GMC is giving away 2 trucks, one for you and one for the player.
Prefontaine is struggling with his punting early. That's usually a given for the Argonauts. They play so well on special teams, and they utilize his ability to punt it so well to win the battle of field position. Not happening so far.
First and 10 Owls from the 48-yard line. They give to Robert Edwards. And again, there's very little running room in the middle of that Argo defense.
Well, you can see the difference from a week ago. It's not what Winnipeg did with Charles Roberts. He's quicker than Edwards is. He's a little shiftier. But this will wear on an Argo defense that's not very good versus the run. There's Fletcher coming down the line from outside linebacker to make the tackle. But it'll wear on you. Remember the last time these guys played 2 weeks ago, it was the second half that Edwards had, not the first half, that made the difference.
Mike O'Shea said two things: close the gaps and make the tackles. 2nd and 8. And that ball is tipped. It's up. It's picked off. The Argos have it. Another turnover. First a fumble and now an interception.
Well, it's Orlando Steinhauer making the interception. When he's down in there, you know it's a zero coverage, which means he's coming out of the middle of free safety, no one deep. And Calvillo talked about this. He goes, we don't really have a hot adjustment on that. We just throw our slants, and that's our hot route. Well, the Argos know that. And the Argos are known for jumping those routes. And there it is again. They get a hand on it, deflected up in the air, and Steinhauer gets the interception.
And what did Steinhauer tell us yesterday?
He talked about this Montreal offense being just like the Winnipeg offense, but without the big weapons, without the Stiegels, without the Armstrongs, without the Charles Roberts. So, bit of a profit early.
First and 10 Argos. Allen, complete. Tony Miles with his first catch of the game. Pinball Clemens on the sidelines for the Argos. Saw first place slip away 2 weeks ago to the Owls and still remembers the 6 turnovers that cost the Argos a trip to the Grey Cup last year to the same Alouettes.
Yeah, and also Eric Lapointe, who's dressed for this game after missing 4 weeks with a broken fibia. He played a big role in that game in the second half with his 3 touchdowns.
2nd and 3, Toronto. Allen doing something he only did 25 times over the course of the regular season this year, running the ball.
So important in the Canadian Football League to have a mobile quarterback, and of course Damon Allen's been known for his mobility throughout his career. And here you go, it's 2nd and 8. This is a designed run. It's not like he's looking to throw and scrambling. It's a quarterback draw, and when you can do that on 2nd and 8, 2nd and 10, and still pick up a first down, wow, it really keeps the defense on their heels and not knowing what to expect.
15-yard pickup. First and 10, Toronto from the 36. John Avery up the middle. Let's take a look at that Montreal defense.
Defensively up front, Adriano Belli back from Hamilton after going to Hamilton for a while. But Stewart, 9 sacks for the season at defensive end. There's that linebacker. Strickland, I just think, is such a key for this defense. We've seen him early on the blitz. And that secondary, Brightful's the guy they're going to pick on. But besides that, a real solid secondary.
2nd and 6, Toronto from the Owls, 32. Allen puts it up, complete to Tony Miles, and Miles tried to step back in, but I think the force of the throw took him out of play.
This is really important from an Argos standpoint to get Tony Miles involved in the game, and it's just one-on-one as you look at him down weak side, and that's where they're going to go. They're going to pick on the weak side corner again and again. I mean, this time it's Estelle in for Brightful, but still, whether it's Brightful or Estelle, that's who they're going to go at, and they're going to go at him with Tony Miles.
They move it down to the 24-yard line, where the Argos are now 1st and 10. They trail 3-0. And it was Williams getting the call, but tripping over something.
Well, this is what we used to say. The turf monster got him on this one. Just reached up and grabbed his foot. You don't see that from Ricky Watts. Just grabs him right. Oh, no, Damon Allen's foot. Tripped over Damon Allen's foot. Big drive, though, after, to try to capitalize. We'll see it again. He steps right on Damon's right foot on the draw play, but just come away with points after getting that fumble recovery.
There are 2 artificial playing surfaces like this in the CFL, one here and one in Regina. Regina is going to field turf next year. I don't think they're going to change here at the Big O. Allen has a man wide open. and Bruce the third down just shy of the 15-yard line.
And there's a great option. Again, I'm not a big fan of throwing the ball short of the first down markers because you never know how quickly you're going to get tackled as a receiver. But if you're going to do it, Arland Bruce is a great guy to get the ball in his hands. Comes close to picking up the first down, but still a yard or two short of the first down, going to force him into a field goal situation. But a great drive by the Argos, great drive.
Bruce had 4 catches for 138 yards in their win over the Bombers in the East semifinal. That brings on Prefontaine to try the field goal. Good on 31 of 42 over the course of the regular season. His longest is 52. Hit on 3 of 4 last week against Winnipeg. And that's a chip shot. So the Argos have tied the game here at the Olympic Stadium at 3. 8 on CBC. Coburn and Darren Diedrich set to take this kick. It's Coburn. Coburn still on his feet. A good return by Avon Coburn, coming up just shy of the 40-yard line. Helping us get closer to the action today is Orlando Steinauer.
Mic'd Up, brought to you by Rogers Wireless, Canada's clearest wireless network.
We're back, baby. We're back. Yeah, let's get this party started. Hey, we on a mission, baby. Let's get this party started.
A couple of turnovers in this one, and that one from Steinauer, the pick, was the second after a fumble. Anthony Calvillo looking for Anderson. It's incomplete.
Yeah, that's just a case of taking your eyes. I think it was Mike Villemek out of the backfield. He's looking upfield to run with the football before he catches it. It's a common thing to do. I've been there myself, but you know, again, that patient passing attack from Calvillo, willing to go short and let the guys run with the football after, not pushing it upfield.
This is something that Calvillo wanted to avoid. 2nd and 10 from the 39. Calvillo finding Edwards, Terrence Edwards, the younger brother of the running back for the Alouettes, short of the first down.
About the 3rd time today we've seen receivers run routes at a depth that's not far enough to pick up the first down. When you're deep in your own end, that's one thing. You need to get a completion, create some space to punt it away, but you're at the 40-yard line. You got to push your route up to 10 yards, deep enough that if you catch it and get tackled, you have the first down.
Bashir Livingston getting set to receive the punt. On Duval, drops to his knees, gets to his feet, and brought down at the 31-yard line by Etienne Boulay. We are tied at 3 here at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. You're watching the CFL on CBC. Welcome back to the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. We're tied at 3 as we get set to begin the second quarter.
I think turnovers. I mean, every coach says it coming into the playoffs. We've seen it so far in the playoffs this year. You can't turn the football over. It would have been 10-0. Alouettes go in and pump that in when they're inside the 10, but the big fumble and the exchange between Calvillo and Edwards. And now, you know, everything else is, you know, Montreal's thrown the ball, I think, a lot better than anyone thought they would. 111 in the first quarter. You just don't do that against the Argos, but the turnovers kept them from having the lead.
Damon Allen has been good on his last 4 passes. Argos 1st and 10. They give to Ricky Williams. Not a lot of running room for the big back from the Miami Dolphins.
No, not a lot of room, but he found a way to pick up 4 or 5 yards here. It didn't look like anything was there to the right side. He uses his vision, cuts back, and then carries Ricky Bell for about 3 yards, and he picks up 4. I mean, that's a good first down for a run play.
Williams has had 4 carries so far in this one and picked up 21 yards. It's now 2nd and 6 Toronto from the 36 in a noisy Olympic Stadium. Allen complete. And Bruce will have the first down. Now let's go down the sidelines and join Scott Russell. Scotty?
Steve, I have to tell you that Michael Bishop has been very active on the sideline. There's Damon Allen. Bishop is wearing a headset, constant conversations with offensive coordinator Adam Rita. He's had huddles with the receivers Arland Bruce, Michael Palmer, Tony Miles, and R.J. Soward. He's rushing to give last-minute advice to Damon Allen every time he goes in. I don't see animosity or jealousy, but it looks like Bishop is chomping at the bit to get in this football game, and he senses that his chance might come soon if Allen doesn't move it.
Allen has completed his last 5 passes in a row. He's going for 6, and he's going deep. And he was looking for Arland Bruce, and they rule incomplete.
Oh, wow. I think he was in. I mean, this is a far look at it, but I think he's in bounds on this one. I thought his left foot landed.
Will we get a challenge?
Let's take a look at it. All you need is 1 foot now, and the foot has to land first, and you have to have possession. There's his left foot.
Heel.
Wait, now this is interesting because the toe hits first. If you tap it with the toe, obviously he's in, but the heel does come down out of bounds.
That first look was a good one.
Yeah, he's in bounds with the toe, and then the heel comes out. You got to call him out. It's a good call, but what a great catch. I'm not even sure he had. What a great catch, though. He's just a tremendous playmaker for these Argonauts.
Well, Pinball has the flag in his hand.
The other thing is he, we'll take another look at the replay eventually, but is he pushed out of bounds while he's coming down from the defender, while he's in the air?
Here's Jake Ireland.
Is he getting pushed at all? I wouldn't say he's getting pushed there to land out of bounds. And again, though the toe comes down first inbounds, the heel does eventually come down and land out of bounds. I would think making that not a reception.
Good effort on the part of Arland Bruce, one of the premier receivers in the Canadian Football League this season. I would say second only to G. Roy Simon.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, G. Roy Simon and BC, I mean, they're going to throw the ball, and they've had success throwing the ball out there where the Argos haven't. So that makes Arland Bruce's year that much better and that much more exciting. I mean, this guy is as talented as anybody in the league at his position.
I'm not sure what the nature of this conversation is between Pinball Clemens, the Argos head coach, and Jake Ireland. I mean, if you're going to challenge, throw the flag.
I think possession's a question here, too. I mean, does he absolutely, looks like he...
Toronto has withdrawn their challenge.
They've withdrawn their challenge. Did they see enough replays on the board that they could withdraw their challenge? But for Pinball, I'm sure that conversation is trying to understand what they are saying. Are they saying he didn't have control as he landed out of bounds? Are they saying that he wasn't pushed? Are they saying that, you know, he didn't have his feet in because his heel went out of bounds? Once he understands that, he knows whether it's a challenge or not.
Obviously, the people in the Argo booth up here had a chance to see the replays that we were throwing up. It's 2nd and 10 Toronto from the 45. We're tied at 3. Allen with time has a man open. Ricky Williams. And Williams close to the first down. Ricky Bell there to make the stop.
You know, I'm getting on everybody for throwing these short routes on 2nd and 10, but you put it in the hands of like Ricky Williams, and I haven't seen him that animated this season. Get up and do the old first down mark, fire his arm, but that was great second effort. This guy gives you tremendous effort. Watch how short he is and how many guys it takes to bring him down. He's 5, 6, 7 yards short. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's still not down. He's still fighting. 7 guys getting the helmet on him, and then he gives up and gives the first down mark. Watch him. Yep. He's into it.
They spot the ball at the midfield stripe. Avery down to about the 46, 47 of the Alouettes before being stopped.
I'm glad we talked about this pregame because these guys have brought it together. They look so good where Williams is banging second effort. Here's Avery just slashing through with his quickness. And he's one move away right there from taking that for big yards. And you could see it when we talked to him yesterday. He's excited about football again for the first time since 2002. He says the chemistry between me and Ricky Williams is so good. I'm excited about this again.
The Argos have rushed the ball 8 times for 49 yards. Good fake. Gets Allenson time and pushed out of play at the 42 by Estelle.
Again, we see a designed call for Damon Allen to run the football. Haven't seen a lot of that during the season, but when you run it effectively with both Avery and Ricky Williams, this type of bootleg, a naked bootleg where you have no one out there with you to help, you're just trying to fool the defense, can be effective, and it has been effective twice so far in this football game.
And the Argos bunch formation to the weak side has been very effective.
The Argos have looked good. I mean, they've really struggled on offense throughout the year, and they've looked good today, and they looked good at times last week against Winnipeg.
From the 42, 1st and 10. They give to the big man, Williams. And Williams again is forced back. This Tuesday at 9 on CBC television, Ian Tracy stars in Intelligence. It's a crime drama set in a world of espionage where the rules are, there are no rules. Intelligence, Tuesday at 9 on CBC.
I love no rules. That's good. I like that.
Your kind of world. Ricky Williams has had 6 touches with 36 yards. Allen under pressure and fires deep to nobody. And he took a hit that time.
Showing his experience, nobody open. They did a quick 3-step drop, looking for the hitches all across the board. Everyone hooked up at like 5 yards, and he had a slant inside. Realized he didn't have anything, and again, he took that hit. Talked about the Alouettes have to getting helmets on Damon Allen just to make him uneasy in that pocket, and they're doing it.
Second hit today, that one courtesy of Kai Ellis. Another field goal attempt from Noel Prefontaine. It's wide. It had the legs, but it was wide. Coburn still on his feet. Coburn still has room to run. Coburn with lots of blocking. Coburn. And he runs into the field instead of going wide, and he's brought down. We are tied at 3, but when we come back, the Owls will have the ball in good field position. A 77-yard missed field goal return from Avon Coburn has the Owls in good position.
And these long field goals, the pressure is on your big guys now to make tackles. Watch, you'll see guys like Eric England in there. You see Washburn trying to make a tackle. You see Keeping in there. Look, there's Washburn right there. He's not going to make a play in the open field against Avon Coburn. And watch the cutback right. If he stays wide, he's got a touchdown. Cuts right back into Kevin Ivan.
1st and 10. With some valuable yardage after breaking through that hole out of the double tight end formation.
Such a game of momentum, and that long field goal miss and that spark by Coburn puts him in good field position. And here you go, a big back following his big hogs through a huge line and fighting for extra yards. This is Robert Edwards at his best. He's banging up in that hole and pick up 8, 9, 10 yards a chunk. And the more times he carries it, the better he is.
1st and 10 from the 34. Calvillo underthrows the intended receiver that time. Ben Cahoon, first time he's looked in Cahoon's direction.
Yeah, he had him. Anthony had a little pressure. There was a couple people. I mean, Robert Edwards was open short out of the backfield, and that ball was actually touched, I think, by Keeping. Just deflected at the line of scrimmage.
Calvillo, one of few quarterbacks in professional football today to call his own plays. He gets a lot of assistance from Kevin Strasser, but he has the right of refusal. 2nd and 10. Calvillo goes over the top with the throw that time. Looking for Watkins. It's incomplete. So that's 2 passes not well thrown by AC.
No, he short hopped both of them. And listen, this is pro football. You got to make those throws, but that's a tough throw. Ball's on your left hash. You got to make the out route all the way to the right sideline. Ball's got to travel 40 yards in the air, and it's got to be on a bullet. So it's a tough throw, but hey, they're still in field goal range. They didn't turn it over this time.
So Damon Duval will get a shot for about the 41 to put the Owls in front, well within his range. It hits the uprights and goes through. The field goal is good. Montreal lead Toronto 6-3 in the second quarter here in Montreal. You're watching the Scotiabank East Championship, the CFL on CBC. The Owls up by 3 in the second quarter.
It's a game of inches, Steve, and we saw Prefontaine miss it, and what happened then? Doink! But this time it goes in. I mean, that hits it and comes straight down. Not only you don't get the 3 points, but you don't get the 1 point. If it hits the upright, it comes straight down. In Duval's case, it hits it and goes in, so he gets 3 points. It's just these little things in these huge playoff games.
Doink.
Doink. I don't know if it's a doink or a ding.
First time we've seen Avery and Williams line up in that formation. They gave it to Avery.
Yeah, for the Argos, it's stick to your game plan. You're running the ball extremely well with Williams and with Avery. Damon Allen's been throwing the football well. Keep pounding it. This is what has made you successful towards the end of the season. Keep doing it. Again, Avery picks up 4 yards on first down, gets him in a 2nd and 6, a very manageable down and distance.
Talking to Avery yesterday, he said he really enjoys being in the same backfield with Ricky Williams. 2nd and 6, and Allen is dropped. Dwayne Taylor.
Well, we said they had to get pressure on Damon Allen. This constitutes pressure. Taylor, a backup middle linebacker, coming right through the middle lane, and what he does is it's a delayed blitz. So at middle linebacker, you take your drop like you're going to get into coverage. All the offensive linemen have to account for their people, and then you shoot hard through the opening. And boy, he came like a bullet. What a shot right through there. He got the sack on Damon Allen.
Allen talking to the backup, Michael Bishop, following the sack. 3rd and 13 for the Argos. Prefontaine to punt. Ball, but the Owls have it. So when we come back, Anthony Calvillo and the Owls will be on offense. 1st and 10 Owls from the 43. They give to Edwards. Edwards off the right side out of the double tight formation, picking up 5 or 6 yards.
Yeah, I think it's been a long time in the Canadian Football League since we've seen teams depend on their running game so much this year. Of course, everyone knows about Charles Roberts, the 1,600 plus yards he had in a great year, but Edwards' great year. Williams and Avery now coming to life. I mean, the running backs in this league are really starting to dominate.
They're in the 6-pack formation. 2nd and 5. Calvillo pumps once, buys a little bit of time, now running right. Flag down. Calvillo slides across the 50-yard line at the Argos.
While Anthony was scrambling, there were so many big hits. It's tough to see what they're going to
contact on the receiver. Caught on number 32. First down.
Yeah, that's a normal call. When you see quarterbacks start to scramble, then it's freelancing from your receivers. And what defensive backs normally do at that point, or someone in coverage, in this case Chuck Winters, is they try to grab on because it's tough to stay with them in open field.
Calvillo rushed the ball 28 times over the course of the regular season for 185 yards, an average of 6.6 per carry.
He picked up a great block from Luke Fritz while he was scrambling on that last one.
Swings it out to the left side. Terrence Edwards still on his feet, but they're going to rule that he went out of play.
Edwards is in not huge numbers this year, but he has really played well later in the season. A very athletic and playmaking type of receiver. Makes a great catch here just to go down, catch it in his hands, and he picks up 6 or so yards and barely stepped out of bounds, or else it would have been a lot more.
2nd and 4, Montreal from the Argos 43. Calvillo good on 6 of 11 passes for 117 yards. This time he gives to Edwards. Edwards, great second effort. Gets down inside the 35-yard line. Again from that double tight end formation.
Absolutely, from the double tights, and what teams have learned and the Alouettes have learned against these Argos, your 2nd and 4 or 5, it's not an automatic passing down. Look at the big guy run and break tackles. You can pick up first downs on 2nd and 5, 2nd and 10 against these Argos by running the football.
That's what Edwards did so well in the last game of the regular season against the Argos. Little play action from AC, and he finds his man, Kerry Watkins, on that slant in eventually.
Calvillo looking like a little kid here in his backyard. Little pump fake, getting Fletcher to jump up in the air. And I think the play fake has a lot to do with it. Now watch Fletcher come off the edge and try to knock it down. Just a little pump fake, step up in the pocket, buys himself just a little bit of time and hits Watkins in stride.
1st and 10, Alouettes from the Argos, 19. Watkins, 3 catches for 69 yards. They give to Robert Edwards. Edwards crashes down inside the 15-yard line. Brought down by Chuck Winters, who had a solid game against the Blue Bombers last weekend.
Yeah, filling in for Antonius Bonner. He had the big forced fumble on Charles Roberts last week, but here's the 2 tight end formation, body on a body, a little bit of a tug and a hold from Wilson up on the top. Receivers, of course, not being used to blocking. They have strange technique, but at least he's trying. I love the double tight end formation. It buys more time for Calvillo and also good run formation.
2nd time for the Owls in the red zone. Calvillo forced out of play inside the 10 by Orlando Steinauer.
All bets are off, right? And there's no protecting the quarterbacks. It comes playoff time. We've seen it from Allen, and we're seeing it from Calvillo. Another play fake gets to the edge. It's that Sally Rand where he's going to give it. If the end stays wide, he's going to fake it if the end collapses, and then he forces the edge. It's run pass. Puts his head down on Steinauer and picks up the 1st down. Just a great effort by Calvillo.
2 rushes, 19 yards for AC. It is now 1st and goal to go. Montreal from the 8-yard line. Edwards with a hole, but it closes quickly as he crosses the 5-yard line.
This is what happens when Calvillo pulls it, and we've seen him pull it maybe 3 times so far this football game, and keeps those defenders at home so that they don't rush to go in and tackle the back so quickly, though. A great hit by Mike O'Shea there. And the ends stay wide. That opens up the running lanes for the running back. And as the game goes on, that's going to be very effective for the Alouettes.
Edwards, 9 carries for 46 yards. The Owls are 2nd and goal from Toronto's 4-yard line. Calvillo from the shotgun. Gives to Edwards. Edwards sees some daylight. Touchdown! Edwards! Montreal!
Well, here it is again. It's just Edwards in this offensive line. Paul Lambert, Ryan Chu just doing their job, right? Wearing down that Argo defense that they know is vulnerable versus the run, but Edwards in his 2nd effort was really, that was the big fact about that play. He just didn't want to be denied as far as getting into the end zone.
Little early movement there from the Argos. I'll probably do this one over again before Duval even got to the ball. Remember last year's final, the difference it made when Edwards went out of the game because it brought on
Eric Lapointe, who had a great second half, but Edwards doesn't look like he wants that to happen today. He's running the ball hard. He's running well. Eric Lapointe, of course, a great option in my mind when he's healthy. But this, I think the big story is this offensive line. I mean, we saw them struggle this season. They certainly did. A lot of sacks on Calvillo, but they had a little attitude yesterday. You know, Paul Lambert, my good friend and ex-teammate, got on me.
Outside. Corner number 595. Foul occurred prior to the snap. The play was killed. 5 yards will be applied on the kickoff, and we will reattempt the contact.
Eric England guilty of the offside there, so they'll do it again.
Yeah, they'll just kick it. They'll get the 5 yards on the kickoff. And back to the offensive line, you know, he thought we were getting on him a little bit. That, you know, in the long story, the long and the short of it is that they were motivated to play a big football game today, and they've come out and done that.
Duval puts it through, and the L's up the count to 10. Welcome back to Montreal, where that man, Robert Edwards, has just put up the first major score of the game for the L's.
Yeah, and it's all up front. You're going to see Okeke, Paulie Lambert, Brian Chu, and right here you'll see Scott Flory, and watch him man-on-man up front and let your back do the work. That's just a great job. You know, you got a talented back. Just get body on a body down near the goal line. If you get a little push, that's great. But let your back do the rest.
Right here. We had on him.
Scoring drive took 4 minutes and 15 seconds. The kickoff following the major score. Avery still on his feet. Great effort by Avery. Dives across the 30-yard line. So when we come back, Damon Allen and the Argos will have the ball on offense. Don't forget our warrior of the game. We want you to log on to cbc.ca/CFL in the second half to vote for the player who you think showed the heart and determination of a warrior. We'll show you the winner in our post-game show, Warrior of the Game, brought to you by the all-new 2007 GMC Sierra. Would it be Anthony Calvillo, do you think, or Robert Edwards, who get my vote right now?
Yeah, Edwards is a pretty good bet.
First and 10, Toronto from the 31. Allen puts it up, completes to Ricky Williams. Williams dodges one tackle, a second tackle, finally brought down after spinning to try and get away.
Now here's the question, I think, for the Argos. You've gone through another first half where with 2.5 minutes left you have 3 points. I don't think Damon Allen has looked that bad in the first half, but there's just no spark there. So you got to go in if you don't score here at halftime and think, do we see Bishop? Do we make a change? They need a spark. Got to get more vertical.
Pinball Clemens says it's a coaching decision. It's nothing personal. If it's going to help the team, he'll pull the plug on Allen. Allen under pressure, still on his feet. Allen does a good job of recovering. Arkel Trulock is there to bring him down.
And this is what I'm talking about. And Damon a little slow to get up, but I mean his effort and his execution is there. He's completing passes, nothing here. Again, the pressure from the Alouettes. He does a lot with nothing on this play to pick up the first down. I mean, that's just a tremendous effort. And yet we look at the scoreboard and there's only 3 points.
From their own 43, the Argos are first and 10. They trail 13-3. Rocket to Arland Bruce the third, and Bruce goes nowhere. Good coverage from the L's secondary. Sanchez leading the way.
Yeah, good coverage going to Arland Bruce, kind of your go-to guy, but he had 101 down below with Tony Miles. And again, Tony Miles won on his route, and I thought that's where they would go. There's the short pass, and Damon's been known throughout his career to take. He really wants those completions, right? Keep the chains moving, short passes, let your receivers do the work. But at some point, you've got to take that chance and go for the big play.
And this is a big play for the Argos. 2nd and 8 from the 45. Out of the shotgun, Allen under pressure and brought down.
was a happy guy who was with the Ticats for most of the year, then came over to Montreal, now has a chance to go back to the Grey Cup. And here you see what Damon Allen sees, nothing. Nobody open, everybody covered. I was talking about Tony Miles. Well, he was up top just getting jammed, didn't even get off the line of scrimmage. And the Alouettes are flying. They're getting those helmets on Damon Allen, which I said they had to do early.
Second sack of the day. First it was Taylor and then Belly. Prefontaine will get this punt away from his own 25-yard line. Good kick. Coburn at the 20, 25, still on his feet. Coburn up to the 33-yard line. 53-yard punt, 14-yard return. Don't forget the Canadian Tire at the half. Elliot Friedman and the panel will analyze his first half of play here in Montreal. And back in the day, one of the greats for the Argos, Joe Kroll. Adriano Belli with the sack for the Owls, coming at perfect time in this one.
Yeah, they've been able to get that pressure on Damon Allen and just make him uncomfortable in that pocket. Not allow him enough time to go upfield.
Less than a minute till halftime. Edwards again breaking tackles. Terrific second effort. Gets the first down for Montreal.
This is just what we saw last week by Winnipeg. They took over the football game with their running game and Charles Roberts. And I wasn't sure if Edwards could do that. I didn't know if he was the back to be able to do that like Charles Roberts is. But boy, he's looked great today. He's so strong, so elusive, making that first guy miss.
AC has a man open. Ben Cahoon.
Yeah, there's Ben's first catch of the day. And again, it's coming off that kind of Sally Ram where Anthony has the option to either give it or pull it and get around the end. He decides to pull it, but now it's not there again, so he has to pull up. So he also has that third option, which is to throw it, and he throws it to Ben Cahoon and picks up a first down.
Edwards making people miss. 11 carries for 62 yards and 1 touchdown. And he gets the call again. Stopped short of the midfield stripe. Only 30 seconds showing on the scoreboard clock here at the Big O.
Yeah, you have 30 seconds. I mean, realistically, for Montreal and Anthony Calvillo, you're thinking, let's get in field goal range, give Duval a makeable field goal, try to get the ball inside the 40, and we can get out of here up 16-3.
Calvillo, 2nd and 7. Fires complete. Terrence Edwards that time.
This time we see that free safety blitz from Steinauer, taking the free safety out of the middle. Calvillo just being patient. There's nobody back here. Right there, look at that. They get that look a lot. I'll tell you, Anthony Calvillo will take that shot eventually.
Well, Montreal have a timeout, and they're going to use it. And that's a good call.
You know, you're really in field goal range right now for Duval. He can make a 52-yarder. I mean, it's not your high percentage one. Realistically, you want to get inside the 35, get it close to 42 and under, but now it's a big play. You can do anything right here. You can run the football. Though without a timeout left, you got to get up there quickly and spike it after you pick up the first down. But you have plenty of time. You actually have time to run 3 plays if you're the Alouettes.
Calvillo. Under his center, Brian Chu. Gives to Coburn. And Coburn goes off the left side for the first down.
Yeah, so what happens is the clock stops right now with 17, so until they reset the chains, and then they're going to blow it in. So he's got to call it and get to the huddle, and that offensive line again, just blowing them off the line of scrimmage. So now they're up, they're at the line of scrimmage, ready to snap the ball as it's blown in.
Calvillo out of the shotgun, hurry up offense. Calvillo forced to scramble, gets the pass away complete. Ben Cahoon.
Yeah, that's a huge completion. It gets the completion to Ben Cahoon, gets him in a better field goal range, but also gets him out of bounds. Now you got 5 seconds on the 26-yard line, and you come in and you kick your field goal. It was really close to Calvillo being over the line of scrimmage, but stayed just behind it before he threw it.
And from an iffy opportunity, it should become a chip shot for Damon Duval.
Yeah, I wonder we'll see Coach Clemens maybe challenge whether he was over the line of scrimmage or not, because I see a flag from the Argos. And that's certainly worth an opportunity.
Here's Jake Ireland. Second time in the game that Ireland has come over to talk to Pinball. That was a short conversation.
Well, he's going to tell him he's going to... cross the line of scrimmage, which absolutely worth a shot, right? I mean, this is a big, it's 15-yard difference. So I'm sure we'll see from our replay whether he was across or not. And it was pretty close by the eye. So the line of scrimmage, which I didn't see, was just inside the yard line right here. He's over the line of scrimmage. I believe he's over the line of scrimmage, but it's really close. I think I'm gonna have to see it. So it's just after the 40, just beyond the 40. Maybe the 41-yard line. Oh, that's too close to call. That's fine. There's a little bit closer look. So we're saying 41, and he throws it about the 41.5, maybe right at the 41. I think. And who knows, right? We've seen these calls go either way. But I think that they'll say that's good, and the play that will stand on the field, because it has to be overturned. It has to be definitive.
That's something you can't teach a quarterback. It's instinct that tells him he is at or near the line of scrimmage. It's a feel. It's inside the gut. And somebody like Calvillo, who's been playing as long as he has, should be able to sense that.
Yeah, he'll vaguely know that, all right, the ball's just outside the 40, but it's really his presence of kind of the line of scrimmage of where to get rid of the ball. Of course, the penalty, if he were to be over the line of scrimmage, would be an illegal forward pass beyond the line of scrimmage, but we'll see how they roll. But you make such a great point. These guys like Calvillo and Damon Allen that are so experienced at buying time behind the line of scrimmage, right? Avoiding the rush and not necessarily taking off to run with it, as we listen to the call.
After review, there is no definitive proof that the quarterback was completely across the line of scrimmage when the ball was released. Ruling on the field stand, first down.
Inconclusive. They couldn't see it on the replay.
Good call. Absolutely. He was right about the line of scrimmage. And again, nice play by Anthony Calvillo. Puts him in good field goal range to get out of the first half, up 16-3.
Providing, of course, Duval is good.
That's right. We should never make that assumption, right, Steve?
It should be a chip shot for the Owls.
Oh, he's gonna ice him now.
Timeout.
Why not? Let him think about it. Toronto's got a timeout, and they just used it.
Icing the kicker. These are big points. The game at the end of last week against Winnipeg, that huge turning point when Damon Allen threw the interception right before half. They go in and score that. Toronto was off and running, but threw the interception.
Here's the question going into the room at halftime. As you have speculated, will Pinball pull the plug on Damon Allen and start Michael Bishop?
That's a great question.
And don't forget the Scotiabank West Championship at BC Place Stadium in Vancouver. The Rough Riders are on the coast to take on the BC Lions and Jason Claremont immediately following this East Championship game. Duval. And there was early movement on the part of the Argos. Younger wanted to get a head start on that one.
Yeah. Well, you come off a timeout and you put something together, and then you come out and you go all sides and get them 5 yards closer.
Outside, corner number 26, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
guess not that big of a difference. A 32-yarder or a 27-yarder, not that big of a difference. So why not take a chance to get that big jump?
Here's an interesting stat. The Argos, when trailing at the half this year, 2006, are 1-7.
That is interesting. Very intriguing. You're a bastion of knowledge, Steve.
Duval with the field goal. Still 2 seconds showing on the scoreboard clock here at the Olympic Stadium. But the Alouettes now in front of the Argos, 16-3.
Yeah, Jim Pop got to be happy, but you nailed it right on the head, and I'm sure our panel is going to talk about it at halftime. Do you make the move? Where a week ago, that came right out of the blue. No one thought Bishop was coming in, except for Adam Rita and Coach Clemens. Well, this week we saw what Bishop can do, so now people are saying, hey, is Bishop going to come in and save the day again?
The last 3 times the Owls have had the ball, it's been a field goal, a touchdown, and a field goal.
I tell you what, I can't wait to hear what Kahari Jones and Greg and Sean Millington have to say about this with Elliott. I'll definitely be tuning in.
To the members of the panel, we will have our ears on, so to speak.
Because, again, we touched about it in the first half. Damon Allen has not played that poorly. I mean, you could say Bishop brings kind of that big, deep threat. And that's a similar look we saw to last week, Damon, when after he got pulled, it's just kind of, you know, what am I doing wrong? I'm actually playing well. But Bishop, he's stronger, a little bit stronger arm. He runs the ball a little bit better than Damon Allen. Just after last week's performance, you would think maybe they'll make a move.
Allen, 8 for 11 in the passing department for 59 yards, 7 first downs.
Yeah, that's all its stats. 8 for 11 is not bad. He's run the ball fairly decent. The big number that matters is that 3 on the scoreboard. And it continues to be that way when Damon Allen is at quarterback.
Lack of consistency and finish on the part of the Argos. A problem all season long. And it's resurfacing again here in Montreal in the Scotiabank East Championship. 16-3 the count, 2 seconds remaining. Time for the kick. The Argos would like a big return all the way to the end zone. Got to hang on to the ball first, and that will kill the clock. Ivan comes up with it. And the teams head for the room here at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. And the hometown Alouettes not disappointing this crowd of 30,000 plus. They head to halftime leading 16-3. Here's Scott Russell with the head coach of the Owls, Jim Pop. Scott?
Yes, Steve, here is Jim Pop. How much has it been part of the game plan to have your defense hyperactive and to get after Damon Allen on every play?
Well, we talked about it. You know, you got to execute it. We've been able to execute it most of the time. We've got our fans involved, which is very important, and we just need to stay on top of it because they got some big play capability.
Jim, you've got a lead, but how concerned are you that it might have been a much bigger lead but for an interception and a fumble?
Yeah, you know what? It was very concerning, but I'm very happy with how our team bounced back after turning the ball over twice in the first half.
Jim, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Jim Pop, Steve.
Thank you, Scott. Jim Pop alluding to those 2 turnovers, but it didn't hurt the Alouettes. We're at the half in Montreal. The Owls lead 16-3.
About Damon Allen and Michael Bishop right at the end of the half there, and you know, 16-3 Montreal, guys. And we talked at the beginning, Sean, you did a lot about the guy who was going to be key for Montreal, and that was Robert Edwards, and he's been big.
Well, Robert Edwards has had a great first half. 12 carries, 65 yards, and this is exactly what we talked about as the key for Montreal to establish the ground game. Toronto's been giving it up on the ground, and I think that's going to come back to haunt them later on. I mean, that's part of their whole defensive scheme, saying, hey, you can run on us, but you're not going to score. But Robert Edwards actually has been scoring, and he scored a critical first half touchdown.
When Montreal used the bye week extremely well because they came in with a great offensive game plan. In the first quarter, what we thought was going to be Robert straight up the gut was actually screen passes. Then there was the fullback out of the backfield. And then in the second quarter, as they got the Toronto Argonauts back on their heels making all these adjustments, then they came back with Edwards up the gut as the downhill runner, and that led to the touchdown.
I'm enjoying seeing what Montreal did defensively because I thought their defensive line play was amazing. They did a lot of different things as far as stunting. I like Strickland coming off the end. I like the delayed blitz with the middle linebacker. And they're just piling up the hits on Damon Allen. And I think Damon and the Toronto Argonauts came out with a good game plan with Damon rushing the football. But that defensive line is playing great.
All right, Scott Russell, I thought Greg asked a great question about Jim Popp was, do you think you should be ahead by more right now?
Well, I think that speaks to the veteran leadership of an Anthony Cavillo, because they had opportunity to score on both of those two drives that were stopped by turnovers. But you know what? The Montreal Alouette team, that offense specifically, rallied, came back, and was able to respond to those two disappointing turnovers.
Well, Greg, actually, I would say that they shouldn't expect to be ahead by more, because this is very representative of how Toronto plays defense. There's going to be turnovers. There's going to be interceptions. They force you to do things that you didn't plan on doing when you started the game, and that's how they've gotten this far into the playoffs.
I always laugh now when I see tip passes because Kahari says they shouldn't count as interceptions.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That's not
I took them all off of my
your total?
off of my ledger.
The big debate now, Bishop Allen. Kahari, you're coaching, your call?
You know what? I would go with Bishop right now. I just feel like Damon, he is playing well. He is accurate on his throws and everything, but they need a change of pace. They need someone who can come in there, who can move around in the pocket, and who can throw the deep ball down the field. It looks like every time Damon is trying to throw the deep ball, he's getting rushed, and he doesn't have that time. Bishop has the arm to make it work despite the rush, and they just need something going on offense, and they haven't been able to do it.
Kahari, I'm concerned, like you mentioned, the offensive line for the Toronto Argonauts. There's a lot of pressure on Damon Allen, and Damon Allen at 43 years old is not the double threat that he once was. Michael Bishop, he's very stout on his feet, and he can take off with the ball and hopefully pick up a couple first downs and get some points for the Toronto Argonauts.
All right, Pinball Clemens is the next halftime interview that Scott will have, and I'm sure that will come up in conversation. What will Pinball do regarding his quarterback situation? We know what the Alouettes are going to do. They're going to keep giving it to Robert Edwards. He is mulching through the Toronto defense in Montreal.
Back in the day. Brought to you by Nissan Versa, the larger-than-life small car.
Joe King Kroll presided over the Argonaut Kingdom during its greatest era, earning himself a spot among football royalty. In a career that stretched from 1932 until 53, Kroll was an intricate part of almost every Toronto attack. Kroll comprised one half of the Gold Dust Twins. He and Royal Copeland tossed touchdown passes to each other during their 1945 Grey Cup win. They repeated the trick the following year to beat Winnipeg in 1946. Copeland went on to win 3 more Grey Cups with Toronto, 6 in his career, and joined the Hall in '63.
Welcome back to the Scotiabank East Championship. Third quarter just about to get underway, but before we do that, let's go to Scott Russell, who's standing by with the Argos head coach, Pinball Clemens. Scotty?
Here's Michael Clemens. Based on what has transpired in the first half or not transpired, who will your starting quarterback be in the second half?
Damon Allen will be the starter. Offensively, we're hurting ourselves more than anything moving the ball. We're having little penalties, little things that are hanging up drives, and so we just have to stay with the game plan there. Got to win the third quarter by 7 points, then it's a new ball game.
I got to ask you this, though, Michael. How much longer can you afford to wait before you introduce something new, i.e. Michael Bishop?
Well, for us, we'll play the game, and our guys are sticking to the game plan, and we're going to do to that. But we don't need you to lurch at anything, because number 9 is going to be spectacular in the second half.
Thank you, Michael. Michael Clemens.
And thank you, Scotty. Pinball not gambling yet as we look at the stats through 2 quarters.
Yeah, offensively not horrendous for the Argos. They were pretty darn good for them. 7 first downs, not great. 114 yards, not great, but they've been worse. It's defensively that's really hurting them. 254 yards. And despite the two turnovers by the Alouettes, they haven't taken advantage of it.
Duval. Foot to ball to get this third quarter underway. Dropped by Livingston. He finds a hole. Livingston still going. Livingston finally running out of room just shy of the 40-yard line.
That's the type of play you need right off the bat if you're an Argo fan to get yourself back into this. And watch Livingston. He was indecisive about who was going to catch it, drops it, sometimes when you do that, the cover team just freezes for a second, and there's a move. Oh, wow. Woo! Talking about breaking someone's leg on a move. Livingston, don't be so cruel, but that's a huge return. Puts the ball on the 43 now. All right, Damon Allen. Coach Clemens showed faith in you. Let's stick it in the end zone.
Best start of the day for the Argos following that 53-yard return. 1st and 10 from the Owls 43. Low play action. Allen. Picked off. And he could go. Estelle, touchdown.
Just a huge play, and we have a fight down on the Argos bench between Arlen Bruce and Mike O'Shea. As great of a return as it was by Livingston, bad decision by Damon Allen. Gets the ball hit as he's releasing it, and the interception for a touchdown. It's just really not a great start for the Argos coming off halftime, to say the least.
Not the kind of beginning the Argos wanted. And there was indeed some action on the Argos bench.
Yeah, and it's speculation. I mean, the big story is Estelle's interception, taking it to the house, just huge.
The Alouettes strike early in the 3rd quarter. 23-3 the score. You're watching the Scotiabank East Championship, the CFL on CBC, with the Owls in the 3rd quarter striking early.
Yeah, it's play action to Damon Allen. We see the fake to Avery. He's coming around the edge, and Anwar Stewart, who does this so well, gets a piece of the ball. You saw Arlen Bruce flash in front of you open, but he tried to come back to Talbot, and there's Estelle's interception. You see Arlen Bruce stop right there and turn around to get into Damon Allen's face and let him know, hey, I was open. Why didn't you throw me the football?
And then Mike O'Shea gave him an earful after that. Duval's kickoff following the TD. Avery finds a hole. Avery tripped up at the 30-yard line.
Now we'll see a little bit of what happened. After Arlen Bruce turned around, I think Mike O'Shea got in his face and said, listen, it's about team. It's not about you getting the ball. And Arlen Bruce, you know, it's guys that, good football players that care a lot, speaking their mind. We'll see a lot about the character of these Toronto Argonauts. And if you can read lips, keep it to yourself at home.
The veteran leadership of Mike O'Shea making himself heard to the rest of his teammates, and especially Arlen Bruce. 1st and 10. Allen still a quarterback. This time he's complete. But again, they do not extend that Montreal defense. They're not going vertical.
Yeah, and again, Damon Allen takes another hit. But you're right. We'll see where he's been throwing the football today. 3 times he's thrown it upfield in the first half. Sure, he's 8 for 8 underneath, but 8 completions for 59 yards. That's under 8 yards of completion. That's not good enough. You got to get vertical.
So it's 2nd and 7 for the Argos from their own 34-yard line. They trail by 20. Allen again. It's tipped. Taylor got a hand on it.
Yeah, and the Argos were also offsides on the line of scrimmage with their slot back. So this will be declined, and they'll have to punt it away. And as much as Coach Clemens...
Offside. Toronto number 18.
R.J. Sauer was adamant about saying, hey, watch Damon Allen. He's going to do spectacular things. Well, that's a very rough start. And I think if you want to stay in the football game down by 20, something's got to happen.
Adam Rita, the offensive coordinator, taking over from Kent Austin, who was fired by the Argos midway through the season. The last 3 pass attempts for Allen, he was hit Heavy pressure. And that one was blocked. Prefontaine with a good punt. Taken by Coburn. And Coburn across the 35-yard line. When we come back, Calvillo and the Owls offense will have the ball. Welcome back to the Scotiabank East Championship. The Owls 1st and 10. Tyrone Anderson.
You're going to have to see the Argos' heart and soul, their defense step up and make plays for them. And you can just see a little bit. And watch Brown down below again, right there, get caught inside. Calvillo's been able to do that all day. Fake the handoff and get the edge. And the defensive ends, both Brown and England, have slanted in. And he's gotten outside of him.
So they'll do it again. A little movement there on the part of the Argos, and that is picked up. Whistles go, flags thrown. Brown may have been moving before the snap of the ball.
Yep, absolutely. Up top, a defensive end for the Argos, but maybe, you know, we'll see if someone made a move or not. Everyone pleading their case. Eric England, who's been quiet today. Eric England, who had the 7 tackles last week, been very quiet today.
We have 2 fouls. Offside. Montreal number 87. Offside. Toronto number 97. Repeat, second down.
Tyrone Anderson jumping the gun. The snap of the ball. Second and 8. From the 37. Out of the shotgun. Calvillo fires. Complete. First down to Ben Cahoon. Let's take a look at the passing chart of AC in that first half.
Yeah, again, very good percentage. 10 for 15, 161 yards, but he's done enough of that medium passing range, and then the big one for 30 yards that he's had a great first half, except, you know, the interception, which was costly to him, but he bounced back. That experience, that leadership came back and had a great first half.
Out of the shotgun, they give to Edwards. Mike O'Shea there to make the tackle. Mike O'Shea with over 1,000 tackles and an outstanding career in the CFL.
Yeah, we see him get the tackle here, and he's the one. I mean, this means so much to him. He's got heated with Arlan Bruce, and he's got to motivate that defense. But Calvillo, you watch him on the big completion to pick up the first down on the play before. He uses his eyes so well because those Argos defenders read the quarterback's eyes.
Second and 3 Owls. And again, it's Edwards who gets the call. Keeping makes the tackle. But the Owls keep the drive alive.
You can see Edwards and what he's done from the running back position the last 3 games. 285 yards, so almost 100 yards a game, 5.6 average, and I think you've seen through the first half the way he gets it done. It's second effort, it's banging between the tackles. He's not an outside runner.
First and 10, Montreal. And again, Edwards stopped at the line of scrimmage by England, but he falls forward for a couple.
Yeah, he's down. He got hit very hard and got hit in an awkward position. It's good to see him get back up. If you remember last year's East final, he didn't get back up, wasn't able to finish the game. But watch how he gets tackled by England. Up around, and then other people come to clean him up, and his legs get caught in there. You see Ivan come in, and actually the ball pops loose.
But look what it takes from a big guy like England to bring down Edwards. He wrapped him up high, and then he had to drop down to his waist and his legs to finally bring him down. Second and 7 Owls from the Argos 47. Flags, whistles.
This one should go against the Alouettes. The guys along the offensive line moved, Calvillo trying to draw him off sides with the cadence.
Procedure. Montreal number 53. 5-yard penalty.
That's okay,
remains. Second down.
The left tackle, second time he's done that today. See him right here. Just move forward a little bit.
So they drop him back 5 at 2nd and 12. from the 52. Coburn's into the game for the Owls. Calvillo fires down the sidelines, and that was over the head of Tyron Anderson. I'm not sure that Anderson had a chance. Younger was covering on the play and covering well.
Yeah, good job by the secondary. A huge stop by the Argos to make the Alouettes punt. 9:16 left in the third quarter. You got to get the ball back to your offense, and if the Alouettes were to go in and score on that drive, whether it was a field goal or touchdown, it's going to be tough to come back.
So the Argos defense have done their job, forcing the Owls into a punting situation. Arland Bruce, the lone man back to get this punt from Duval, and it's a good punt. Excellent punt taken by Bruce, and Bruce gets out to about the 6-yard line, where the Argos offense are in a bit of a hole. The Argos have made the quarterback change. Michael Bishop is into the game, but the field position is anything but good.
Yeah, Arland Bruce making a poor decision, not only in the end zone, but he's pinned right to the sideline. So he's going to give Michael Bishop the ball on the 6-yard line. You know, Arland Bruce is a great football player, but there's thinking maybe you can do too much with a bad situation.
So will the Owls come with a load against Michael Bishop? Bishop fires complete to Talbot. And Talbot took a big hit.
Yeah, it took a big hit, but what a great throw from your own end zone. Not to be insensitive to Talbot, but a bullet he throws to the sideline.
Bishop has one of the strongest arms in professional football. Here it is.
Rolling left in his own end zone, throwing this field side out, which has to go through the goalpost against good coverage. All that effort and everything has to go perfect, and you pick up 7 yards. But hey, you know, he's got the cannon, no doubt about that. Eventually, he's going to use that to either pump that and then go upfield.
Bishop, a veteran of the Arena Football League in the States, a starter 2 years in a row, but didn't start last year, but has just signed a new contract.
Right, he was with the Chicago Rush in 2006. As we look at what Damon Allen did, he's 19 for 14 for 60 yards and a pick. And I think the biggest stat is the 3 points that they only put up into the third quarter. But what he did so well last year was, last week, talking about Bishop, was use his mobility and use his arm strength to get the ball upfield. And he only completed 3 passes. So it wasn't like he came in for a whole half and was this 12 for 15 and big yards. So he only made a few plays, but it was enough to get the victory. And now they're leaning on him heavy. Now you're down by 20 against a good football team with 8:31 left in the third, as we see Talbot get up and walk off under his own strength. But there's a lot of things to talk about with Bishop, right? Coach Clemens will talk about the passing of his mother in February and the way he matured after that, and the understanding of that, and the refocus to football between the Arena League and what he's done here with the Argonauts, all contributing to him playing better.
2nd and 2. They give to Williams. He did 2 for the first down.
This is going to be close. If you don't get it in your own end, I mean, I think you're in a position now, you still go for it, even if it's at your 15, 16-yard line, which, of course, it's got to be within that half yard or so. I mean, you can't go a full yard.
We'll see how close they are. Remember, they're down by 20 points. Just over 8 minutes remaining to play in the third quarter.
And of course, they get it, because I can't read it from here. Bad eyes. See Ricky Williams again getting the tough yards. Nice tackle. I think it was Belly down there getting the tackle, but not sure.
So now 1st and 10 for the Argos. Bishop under pressure, down just outside the 5-yard line. Romero
Well, whether it's Damon Allen or Michael Bishop, what they've done so well is get pressure on the quarterback, and they do it with 4 guys. You have 7 guys blocking 4, and you still get to the quarterback and get a sack. You just get guys don't even have guys rushing, and they're not blocking anyone, but you still get that pressure and get the sack. It's not good.
So now it's 2nd and 19. Once again, Bishop will have to go into his own end zone. He's got some room. Has he got a man open? Forced to keep it. Gets to the 15, fumbles. Ricky Bell came up to make the stop. Alouettes are indicating they think they have the ball.
I think the Argos jump back on it, but what a great job by Bishop to get out of the way of pressure. Watch, they're bringing the blitz, and he's out there all by himself. So much room, but nobody's open. He had definitely fumbles it. I think Crawford jumps on the ball to retain possession. We'll see here, just nobody out there, so he's got to make, Crawford right next to him that jumps on the football. Unfortunately for the Argos, now they can punt it away.
So Noel Prefontaine will get the kick away from his own 5-yard line. Good spiral. Coburn juggles it. Argos have it. Argos recover.
Oh,
Hardy, the man in the right place at the right
Hardy,
time.
of all people, the veteran CFL player, started his career in Edmonton, University of Manitoba product, making a huge fumble recovery on special teams. And Coburn just never had possession. Hardy thinks he's going to go to the house there, but he's got to tuck that thing away himself. And again, just taking your eyes off the ball last second to look upfield. Now here's a huge break for the Argos, and they need to capitalize.
Second fumble of the day for Coburn. The Argos have it, 1st and 10 from the 51-yard line of Montreal. Bishop in the pocket, has time, unloads underneath the coverage. Ricky Williams.
Now here's a smart quarterback that's been watching the game. He remembers the success of last week hitting the backside of the backfield, which we haven't seen at all today. And he comes in and he goes back to that. He goes back to his running backs out of the backfield. Ricky Williams just checking up. And once he catches it, again, he's a great runner in open space, so he picks up a lot of yards.
1st and 10. Toronto from the 26. Out of the shotgun. Bishop over the middle, complete. R.J. Soward, but nowhere to run once he got the ball. Let's go back a week and look at Bishop.
Well, I mean, he did it for them last week. That corner out to Arland Bruce right here, where Arland Bruce does the rest. But he threw that bullet in there between the corner and the free safety, and then the touchdown to R.J. Soward, buying himself time behind the line of scrimmage. But here's a huge 2nd and 7 right here for the Argos.
From the Montreal 22, Bishop out the shotgun, fires through the middle, touchdown Argos! Arland Bruce.
The Alouettes bring pressure. That puts pressure on your secondary. And Arland Bruce one-on-one. I think he's one-on-one. Oh, wow. You just don't get that off. And one-on-one Arland Bruce against Chip Cox. And he gave away, with no free safety help in the middle, he gave away the middle. Bishop took advantage of it.
Good read. Good pass. And the Argos have their first major score of this game, but they trail 23-10. Welcome back to the Scotiabank East Championship, where the Argos have just put some life into this one.
Watch Lamont Brightful jump the first crossing route, leaving all this area behind for Arland Bruce to go one-on-one with Chip Cox. There he goes. He sucks up the first crossing route, and they throw it right over the top to Arland Bruce one-on-one with Chip Cox. That's good patience by Michael Bishop to be able to read that and make that throw.
Bishop 4 for 4 since coming in. 57 yards. Allen left the game, having played an entire opening half with only 60 yards. Coburn at the 20. Picking up speed. Trying to find room on the outside. Flag is thrown at the 35. Still on his feet. Crosses the 45-yard line. Brought down by Carter.
A great return by Coburn that's going to come back, and it's going to be very poor field position. And if the Argos are going to get back in this game, which they seemingly have done, it's going to happen with defense and special teams.
Holding. Montreal number 30. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Well, you've mentioned turning point. Does the man wearing the mic, Orlando Steinauer, think the same thing?
Mic'd Up. Brought to you by Rogers Wireless, Canada's clearest wireless network.
Get the ball! There it is. There it is. That's the break we needed. There it is. Let's go, baby. That's the break we needed.
He's talking about Chris Hardy's fumble recovery on the punt.
Here's Edwards for Montreal. Edwards still going at the 30-yard line. He was pretty much stopped at about the 20. He is a huge load when he gets going.
Yeah, he's just a tough running back. He's just so hard to bring down, and this is what can kill you if you're Toronto, because yeah, moving the ball is going to hurt, and this is what they've been bad at all year, stopping the run, but it also just eats up the clock if a team can run the football on you.
Edwards, 12 carries for 100 yards. Two weeks ago, in clinching first place, this is exactly what Montreal did. Gave the ball to Edwards.
Yeah, and that's what you do. It's playoff time. We heard Ben Cahoon say it. Calvillo said it to me yesterday during practice. He's like, I've checked my ego. I mean, when it comes to playoffs, you just have to move the football. How we move it against the Argos is by running it with Robert Edwards.
The Alouettes in the six-pack. 2nd and 7 from the 33. That was designed from the get-go. Michael O'Shea over to make the tackle on Anthony Calvillo.
It was designed. He's going to be a yard or just over a yard short, and they're going to force him to punt. And now with 3:13 left in the third, Argos are back in it. They got a chance. You see Anthony. We've seen him run a lot today, and you wouldn't see that, I don't think, a lot in the regular season because you're afraid of banging him up and him getting hurt, but this is to go to the Grey Cup. This is for everything as far as CFL football players are concerned.
Duval with the punt. End over end. Taken on the fly by Livingston. And he'll be stopped at the 35-yard line where Michael Bishop and the Argos will take over on offense. 1st and 10 Argos. They give to Williams. And the ball comes loose. But I think the Argos are going to get the benefit of that whistle.
You see Ricky Williams run. It's just like watching Robert Edwards run. There's such hard runners, but I'm sure we'll get another look to see if his knee was down before the ball came out. And here he comes right at you. Still got it. It's close. Close.
Very close.
And there, Jim Pop saw the same thing. He thinks it's a fumble. But now, again, it's back to, is it definitive? Is it conclusive enough that you say the ball came out?
And was he too late in making the challenge? The Argos got up to the line.
Well, they stopped the play, and that's really all that has to happen. They stopped the play. And now they could be talking about that. But if they stop it, he's allowed to challenge it. I would have thought he would have challenged it right off the bat because it was so close, but we'll see how they sort this out.
Jake Ireland going over to talk to Jim Pop.
I can hear questions already about the Bishop and Damon Allen move, about not making it soon enough in the second half with that interception being so big. At the beginning of the second half where Damon threw the interception, returns for a touchdown. Without that, right now it'd be 16-10 in anyone's ball game.
the all-time yards passing leader in professional football, Damon Allen, surpassed the mark.
Montreal has challenged the ruling of the field of down by contact. They believe the ball was loose prior to the runner being down and that they recovered the ball. I will review it.
That's an important and, because at the end of it, I did see an Argo come up and think he had it. Let's take a look at it. You got to look at his right knee in the ball. The ball's loose before his knee's down, so it's a fumble. But who recovers it? Yeah, we think it's a fumble.
How about the whistle?
I don't know. How's that for an honest answer? Well, all right, so we see Montreal recovers it. So, yes, the whistle blew. Cox recovered the fumble, but if it's a fumble, what is that? Inadvertent whistle blows the ball dead, and you got to stick with your call? I think it should be Montreal ball going the other way.
Well, Jake Ireland is under the hood reviewing this challenge from the Alouettes' Jim Pop.
You know, these are the type of plays, these huge, did he fumble, did he not fumble in the playoffs, that we have instant replay in the Canadian Football League.
Especially at this point in the game when it looked like the Argos are picking up some momentum offensively, which they didn't have in the first half.
The only thing that plays into this is the whistle. Does the whistle automatically stop the play? That you have to live with your call. Because you could say that the Argos stopped trying once they heard the whistle. They wouldn't go after the fumble because they heard the whistle. That's a legitimate argument. I'd go with that. Though it bounced right up into Cox's hand and he had it.
Worth another look. Let's go. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah. Just getting nailed, just fighting for yards. Loose before that left knee comes down. I mean, I think that's conclusive enough to say he fumbled it before his knee was down, and the whistle had not blown at that point. Then the ball was on the ground, and eventually the whistle blew before Cox picked it up.
Here's Jake Ireland.
Yeah, we're all here right now. He's talking about spotting the ball.
And the Owls have got it.
After review, the ball came loose prior to the ball carrier's knee being on the ball ground, and the ball was subsequently immediately recovered by Montreal at the 52-yard line. First down, Montreal.
You know what? They got it right. That's what it's all about. They looked at it and they got it right. Good for them. Good challenge by Jim Pop. It's the right call.
The perfect example of why they put in the replay system.
That's
in
right.
a big game on a call like that.
If I were with the Augers, though, I'd say the whistle blew and maybe one of my guys was going to go after the ball that they didn't. But you know what? The ball bounced right up to Cox and he recovered it right away. But that would be their argument, and probably what Bishop and the Argonauts are saying right now is, how can you blow the whistle and then expect us to go after a fumble?
Second turnover for the Argos. Now, once again, the pressure clearly on the Argos defense as the Alouettes take over 1st and 10 from the Toronto 52-yard line. They lead 23-10. Minute 50 to play, third quarter. Calvillo with lots of time. He's airing it out. He's going deep. He's got his man open. Touchdown, Alouettes. Tyron Anderson.
That's a huge momentum changer right there. Argos moving the football. Replay says he fumbled. Calvillo comes back. First play, gets man-to-man coverage with Tyron Anderson, and they take advantage of it. You know, it's tough to play man-to-man coverage all over the field, and we see Chuck Winters, who's in the game, because Antonius Bonner's been out with the hand injury. And that's a tough challenge to be one-on-one with a slot back like Anderson.
Duval is good with the point after. The Alouettes now with a commanding lead, 30-10. The Owls capitalize on the turnover and turn it into a touchdown.
Yeah, as we look at watch Calvillo's eyes and then watch Steinhauer and where he goes. He moves with Calvillo's eyes, and that opens up the whole other seam where he hits Anderson one-on-one with Winters, and that's what he talked about yesterday. They react to my eyes so much. So he looks right, knows he has one-on-one coverage back to the left, and then we see Anderson haul it in. I mean, you could say maybe his knee came down before he got in the end zone, but that's a huge pass and catch, and he's saying it right there. He's saying, I looked right, Steinhauer went to the right, and I threw it left where I had one-on-one coverage.
And for Anderson, that's his second career touchdown in the playoffs. Duval with the kickoff. Arline Bruce does a good job on the return, whistle and flag.
Now the Argos just have to bounce back now. You're down 20 points, which it's still late in the third quarter. You have time.
Holding. Toronto number 35. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Colin Ivan's not going to help push him back.
Wednesday, Dragon's Den, CBC's #1 new show. Hopeful entrepreneurs pitch to wealthy investors. Will their dreams come to life, or will their dreams be shattered? Dragon's Den, Wednesday at 8 on CBC. Got an invention that you want to flog?
You know,
Dragon's Den.
Early on, when I was younger, I had a lot of inventions, but my time's passed.
1st and 10, Toronto from their own 22. Less than a minute in the third quarter. Williams looking for running room on the right side, turns the corner, and is knocked out of play. Wow. Strickland over there to finish off Williams.
Come right back to Ricky Williams. He's run so well today. That fumble, of course, a turning point in the game. But boy, bodies are flying all over the place. Watch this nice run by Williams on the counter, just running around the right end. Some good blocks, and the hit he takes right at the sideline, I think, from Strickland. Yep, which is close to being a yard out of bounds. And these guys know what's on the line. Trip to Winnipeg, trip to the Grey Cup that just doesn't come along that often.
And for some of these Alouettes, they've got a memory. They remember the bitter taste of last year in Vancouver and losing to the Edmonton Eskimos in overtime. They want to go back and finish the job they started at BC Place Stadium. Don't forget, Warrior of the Game. We want you to log on to cbc.ca/CFL in the second half to vote for the player who you think showed the heart and determination of a Warrior. We'll reveal the winner in our post-game show. Boy, there's a bunch of players out there today who are in the running for Warrior of the Game, no question.
Yeah, tough to go away from Edwards the way he's run the football today. And that Alouette defense that has played so well. Strickland, of course, but the guys up front that put the pressure on the quarterback. I think Adriano Belli is the guy down for the Alouettes right now, who's played a great football game himself.
How about Michael O'Shea on the other side of the ball? The Argos defense.
Yeah, right. O'Shea's played extremely well. Ricky Williams has run the ball very well. And who knows what Bishop has left for us.
There's O'Shea. He's been a warrior many an afternoon for the Toronto Argonauts. And you saw the passion that he tried to get going with the Argos when he challenged Arline Bruce on the bench late in that second quarter.
Yeah, just two guys, as we see Belly get up and walk off under his own power and give the international symbol of love. It's just two great competitors, O'Shea and Bruce, that are kind of going at it because they want to win this football game more than anybody.
Two great franchises in the CFL meeting for the 5th straight time in the Scotiabank East Championship here in Montreal. 1st and 10, Toronto, around their own 33. They need points. Bishop fires complete to Miles. who has not been that active all afternoon. He's brought down at the 35. And if you're just joining us, early the story was turnovers.
Yeah, Mark Estelle, that 78-yard interception return for the touchdown at the beginning of the second half after they had great field position for the Argos was a huge turning point. Edwards has played extremely well. Anderson's 52-yard catch right after the Ricky Williams fumble. A huge touchdown. 2nd and 8,
Toronto. Bishop on the move. Bishop unloads, but it's incomplete. He was looking for Arland Bruce. Bruce couldn't hang on.
Yeah, he had two levels of receivers, and he missed them both.
30-10 the score. Statistically, through 3 quarters.
Argos did catch up a little bit statistically in that quarter, but net yards 360 to 193. That's very un-Argo-like defensively to give up that many yards.
Opening play of the 4th quarter, and Prefontaine is going to throw it. He's under pressure. He gets the kick away. How did he do that? It looked as if he had the ball up to throw it, and he got the kick away. Butler. Wow.
What an athletic play by Prefontaine. I just talked before this about we should watch for a fake here, and they go, and he's looking for someone to throw to, and nobody's out there. So what's he do? He's got the calmness in himself to say, all right, I gotta punt this thing if nobody's out there. And he gets off a beauty, looking to throw it. He's got a great arm. I've seen him in warm-ups. Wow. And he is left-footed, just for the record.
And that was a 50-yard punt on the run after almost throwing the ball.
Yeah, he's got a tremendous arm. But what an athletic move by Prefontaine to save a bad play.
1st and 10 Owls. Play action. And Calvillo bounces that one off the artificial turf here at the Olympic Stadium, looking for Ben Cahoon.
Yeah. Cahoon hasn't had a big day today, but Calvillo been effective with this fake play action stuff. And Clemens trying to reach into his bag of tricks and go with a fake punt, but I don't think anybody heard that they were supposed to go out for a pass because Prefontaine was out there pumping the ball, looking to throw it. No receivers out there.
Calvillo has been good on 12 and 20 passes for 224 yards and 1 touchdown. They're 2nd and 10 now. Calvillo buys some time. Rolling out, turns, and goes down. Fletcher there to force him down, along with England.
The Argo defense continues to keep them in the game, with the exception of the big pass to Anderson for the touchdown. They should get really good field position on this one, and it's only because Prefontaine got him out of disaster. As you see, Calvillo could have forced that in right there on the move, but didn't want to take a chance of throwing a pick in his own end. So now, hey, take the sack and punt it away.
2 and out for the Owls. Big punt from Duval. Arland Bruce gets into Montreal territory. Carey is there to make the tackle. So good field position for Michael Bishop.
Yeah, great field position, and now you're at the point where you can't waste any drives. There's no more settling for a punt or not getting a first down on 3 downs. You got to score. You got 13:43, so there's enough time to do it, but you got to score on each drive.
1st and 10 Toronto from the Montreal 54. Out of the shotgun, Bishop fires complete to Miles. Miles down to the 41-yard line. Estelle is there to make the tackle for the Owls.
The Alouette defense, which was pressure, has backed up now into a zone as we see the Argos go to no huddle, and you can complete this versus the zone defense all day.
Bishop Bishop unloads with that rifle arm, complete again to Miles.
This is good stuff by the Argos, because with the amount of time you have left, and now we're going 12:50 or so, you can take these short completions and just get your drive as long as you end it by scoring, and preferably a touchdown. I think a touchdown is very important, but just keep moving the sticks and get some points on the board.
Again from the shotgun, from the 30-yard line. Bishop going to carry this one himself. It's knocked off balance at about the 21-22. Just shy, I believe, of the first down.
They were trying to go to Tony Miles' weak side on an out and up, and he had him beat. But as he broke to go deep, I saw he started to limp. You know, that foot's bothering him. So Bishop didn't want to take a chance. Great run by him. Puts him in second and short as we have another Alouette down.
Arkel Trulock is down on the field, maybe buying the Alouettes a little bit of time. They lead 30-10. There's 12:13 to play, fourth quarter.
They always got some great bands, great musicians on those shows. I love that. This is big, Steve, obviously, for the Argos. They put some time back on the clock. They got 12:20 left.
2nd and 2. Bishop on his feet. Bishop down to the 10-yard line. Butler was in the right place to make the stop. Otherwise, Bishop is in the house.
Bishop is playing some great football. Not many quarterbacks can do this off a quarterback sneak. He's like a running back. He's just so big. Breaks the tackle. Almost looked like Butler grabbed his face mask.
1st and 10 from the 11. Pass over the middle. Easy touchdown for Michael Palmer.
Palmer had a touchdown last week. The Guelph Griffin back-to-back playoff touchdowns, and great job by Michael Bishop. Just a little crossing route between the two slot backs and created confusion in the Alouette secondary, and that was a quick drive. I mean, you score that quickly, that leaves a lot of time left. Just Bishop just sitting back. Palmer comes underneath, calm under pressure. No one near him. Talbot and Palmer just did a crossing route.
And Prefontaine is good on the point after, so the Argos still alive in this Eastern Championship. We're watching the Scotiabank East Championship, the CFL on CBC, where the Alouettes have a 30-17 lead, but the Argos are coming.
Yeah, there's the look at the confusion, and it's wide at slot back, but both defensive backs run with Talbot there as they do the crossing route. It's just a simple exchange. Usually the inside guy stays with the inside guy, outside guy stays outside, but they just didn't communicate. And Palmer back in the end zone.
One of many great receivers of the CIS, the Canadian Intercollegiate System, has provided to the CFL down through the years.
The other great Guelph grad on this Argo team being Mike O'Shea at middle linebacker.
5 drives for the Argos, resulting in a pair of touchdowns. Still got a lot of work to do. Coburn still on his feet. Coburn across the 31-32-yard line. Carter downfield to make the tackle for the Argos. So once again, the pressure on the Argos defense.
Well, I think, and I'm not sure what the 2 means, but that they would come back in with that 2 tight end set and really try to use Edwards now. This is kind of where they can put the game away if they run the football well. See if they can do it.
11:32, and the clock is running here at the Olympic Stadium. Montreal leading 30-17. They have the ball. 1st and 10 from their own 32. Edwards, big hole. Edwards all the way to the 46-47-yard line.
I mean, it's just a no-brainer from the Alouette perspective. They come into the 2 tights with the bunch formation to the right, and it's a whole lot of Robert Edwards. The Argos have proven throughout this year that they just cannot stop the run. And they need to stop it now to stay in this football game. Their playoff hopes all sit with that. Can they stop the run in this 4th quarter?
1st and 10, Montreal. again. Edwards gets the call. And just like last week, we knew that Charles Roberts was going to get the ball from the Blue Bombers. We know that Edwards is going to get the ball here, and so does the Argos defense.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a play like that from Chuck Winters last week, either ripping the ball out, making him fumble, or Mike O'Shea and Ivan stepping up like they do on this play. I mean, you got to know the run's coming. Of course, now you're in 2nd and 7, and it could go either way, but you got to stop the run.
15 carries, 121 yards for Robert Edwards. 2nd and 7 L's from the 51. Calvillo swings it wide right, and he finds Terrence Edwards. Edwards does a great job of staying on his feet and killing a few precious seconds.
Yeah, and trying to stay in bounds. All through the years, back when I played, and up until this year, this play never works against the Argos. They have too much team speed on the perimeter to throw these hitch passes. Yeah, Pinball can feel it. Coach Clemens is into it. 30-17, 9:50 something remaining. Still got a chance. Everything that's gone wrong for them, they still got a chance, and they're in this football game.
Once again, the Argo defense rising to the occasion, accepting the challenge. Livingston back to get this punt from Duval. A good high spiral inside the 20, and terrific downfield coverage. No flag down. That was great timing on the part of the L's. Downfield coverage. Cox leading the way. Immediately following our game in Montreal this afternoon, the Scotiabank West Championship, it's G. Roy Simon and the BC Lions at home to Kerry Joseph and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They need a big game from Joseph. If he can match the Saskatchewan defensive effort, Dave Dickinson and the Lions offense could be in trouble.
Yeah, and Kenton Keith, another one of these great backs in the Canadian Football League for the Riders.
Here in Montreal, 1st and 10 for the Argos. Bishop out the shotgun. Bruce, he was hoping to find a receiver downfield, but there was nobody open. Sanchez brings him down.
You know, he had Talbot in there and around the 10-yard range. Talbot had sat down and was wide open, and he looked right at him and just didn't throw it. So it's a backwards pass over to Bruce, and Talbot slips off, and it is wide open at about 10 yards, but Bruce didn't think he had a clean enough look and tried to make something happen and lost 2-3 yards.
2nd and 12, Toronto. From their own 13. Bishop. This time has a man open. It's Miles. And Miles has the first down. Clutch grab, clutch throw.
Miles has played well. A great turn back throw by Bishop. Rolls left, looking left, comes back to Miles, coming across the middle. Just a big catch, big conversion for 2nd down.
7th catch, 59 yards for Miles. Bishop out of the shotgun from the 29-yard line. Bishop puts it up, and that was going nowhere. That was way over the head of Miles. Let's go down to Scott Russell. Scott, what have you got?
Steve, I have to tell you that Chris Jones, the defensive coordinator for the Owls, is livid in light of the 2 touchdowns by the Argos. The Owls were coming, but they were not quick enough. That's a function of Michael Bishop being in the game. He forces the Owls to be quicker. Jones has challenged everybody on his defensive squad to adjust to the game, to suck it up, and he's done it in language that I can't repeat here. He's angry.
This is a family show. Thank you for keeping that in mind, Scott. 2nd and 10 Argos from the 29. Bishop unloads. It's complete to Talbot. And Talbot will be close to the first down.
This is great stuff by Bishop. And again, we saw it last week against Winnipeg, but he's making great decisions and then putting the ball on the money. Another first down. They have plenty of time. We're working on 7:30 and change. They just need to get scores out of all these drives.
There's the man that Bishop replaced, David Allen. Bishop again out of the shotgun, again with time. This time he's forced to run. Flag goes down. Bishop crossing the 45 into about the 47-yard line. Strickland there to make the tackle for Montreal.
Yeah, you're going to get a hold against the Argos, and it's so hard on this offensive line. You got to feel for them. They know he's dropping back and throwing it every down, so they're just pinning their ears back and rushing.
Holding. Toronto number 67. 10-yard penalty.
That's Cliff Washburn at right tackle. That's in for Davis after the rough week last week, but he's played well today. We haven't heard Trueluck's name a lot today, so he's played a heck of a football game. It's just, this guy's got to be tired.
Anwar Stewart is down for the Alouettes. Montreal lead 30-17. Welcome back to the Scotiabank East Championship, the CFL on CBC. The winner of this game heading to Winnipeg next Sunday for the 94th Grey Cup. Will it be a return visit for the Alouettes, who lead 30-17? Michael Bishop and the Argos determined to make a game out of this one. We have an injured Alouette down on the field, and that's holding up play. Damon Allen started this game, went through the first half, but look at the difference in the numbers between Allen and his replacement, Michael Bishop.
Yeah, it just shows you that he wasn't a fluke last week. He was 3 for 5 last week with 2 touchdowns. Well, now he's played more. And in limited time, he's 10 for 11 for 118. I mean, Bishop's the real deal. He's played extremely well in these playoffs for the Argos, and he's going to have to do it for them to keep going.
But it's 1st and 20, Toronto, from their own 29. Bishop steps up, fires long. He's got Talbot open. Can he hang on? Talbot got a piece of that, but he couldn't bring it down. Etienne Boulay was covering. What a great job by Boulay. Never gave up on the ball.
Yeah, great job. There was a huge opportunity, all created by Bishop, buying time. He could have dumped it underneath and maybe picked up half of the yards, but he had Talbot wide open. You know, if anything, just a little bit too much air on it. Maybe a little more line drive, and I know it's like a 60-yarder he just slung off the run. I was almost going to say interference on that because he wasn't looking. He did hit Talbot before the ball got in there.
At a time like this, with the score being what it is, you got to hang on to that ball. 2nd and 20. They swing it left. Bruce still on his feet. And Bruce comes up shy of the first down. Cox is there to make the hit.
They called it on Talbot coming back with the effort to make the block. That would have been a great pickup and put him at 3rd and 5. But they're going to call Talbot on a clip, trying to come back and help. So Talbot had the, I guess what could be considered a drop, and now a huge penalty trying to help out Bruce on the reception. So they got to figure out now, the Alouettes, whether they want it 3rd and 5 or push him back even more and give him 2nd down again. I would push him back, but that's me.
Illegal block. Toronto number 4. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
You know, this is an effort thing. You watch, great job by Bishop having the patience to get it out to Bruce, and watch Talbot. That's not Talbot right there. He'll come back and hustle. That's Ricky Williams getting a great block right there from the back. And that's so obvious. Yeah, you're hustling, but you know what? Bruce would have beat him outside anyway. Bad decision by Talbot to attempt that block. Now you're way back. I can't even count that many yards. 10, 20, 2nd and 30.
From the 19. Huge play. Complete to Miles. But Miles is surrounded at the 32-yard line by the Alouettes, who were going to give him the catch.
Yeah.
But they weren't going to give him the yards after the catch.
No, but take it. If you're the Argos and Bishop, it's smart. You picked up half of it now and put yourself in a 3rd and 15. So if you did want to go for it, maybe you could. But even more importantly, field position. And there's Bishop just making great decision after great decision since he's been in the football game.
We saw Prefontaine fake the punt. What does he do this time? As Damon Allen talks to Michael Bishop, he punts it away. Coburn lets it bounce. Coburn at the 31. Coburn, with a little bit of daylight, crosses to the 42-yard line, where the Alouettes will take over and try to kill some time on the clock, leading 30-17. CFL, vote for the player who you think showed the heart and determination of a warrior. We'll show you the winner in our postgame show, Warrior of the Game, brought to you by the all-new 2007 GMC Sierra. Calvillo gives to Edwards. Edwards still on his feet. He tries to get to the 50-yard line.
There's a warrior right there, Robert Edwards.
What a game he's had.
He certainly has, and so have the guys up front. But a little bit of a receiving. You know, they used him out of the backfield just a little bit. But really, it's been his hard running between the tackles. Taking hits, carrying people for extra yards, fighting extra effort. He's just gotten it done today.
I remember in last year's Eastern Championship, he cracked his ribs and missed the Grey Cup.
Calvillo just
saw something in that defense he didn't like.
Montreal.
But he let the clock run almost down, all the way down, just to burn the clock, get it down to 5 and 11. Then he saw what they were in as a defense, called his timeout. Now he knows this is a big conversion. It's 2nd and 3. You get this first down, you chew up the clock.
Is that the smarts and the savvy of the veteran quarterback?
Absolutely.
Clock management.
Yeah, a little confused at the line of scrimmage, but what he's saying is, oh, I'm going to take off as much time as I can, then I'll call my timeout, and then I'll go regroup after what I just looked at as a defense and make a call that I think is going to work. I mean, offensively, the Alouettes have not done much. They've punted 4 times out of 5 possessions. The only other possession, that touchdown to Tyron Anderson after the Ricky Williams fumble.
Alouettes needing 3 yards for the first down. And guess who gets it? Edwards. And he's going to be short.
Yep, the Argo defense again stepping up. We're going to make them punt the ball away with about 5 minutes left and still give them a chance to be in this football game. I'm just so impressed with both teams, right? Montreal played so well in the first half and fighting, but the Argos especially for hanging in this football game, because after the Ricky Williams fumble, after the interception for the touchdown at the beginning of the second half, a lot of teams would have given up.
If ever the Argos needed a big return from that man, it is now. Sheer Livingston at his own 15.
Again, they're going to take their time and let the clock go all the way down to about 2 or 3 seconds, then snap it. Smart. Oh, actually, they snapped it at 5, but that's close enough.
And that's a good punt. Livingston at the 20. 25. Trying to find something, anything, to move upfield. Knocked out of bounds at the 25-yard line. So Michael Bishop will bring the Argo offense on. They trail 30-17, 4:34 to play in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, it's getting so tough with the amount of time left. You see, he's played so well. If he had better field position, you could make 3-4 completions and get a touchdown. He's got to go so far. He's got to go 79 yards to get a touchdown here.
From the 26, 1st and 10 Argos. Bishop fires, and he was looking for Talbot, and once again Talbot can't hang on.
Yeah, Talbot just not coming up with that big play. It was the deep one, and now the in route that we saw Tony Miles catch. Another good throw by Bishop. He rolls left, looks back right, and hey, that's a big time tough catch, no doubt about it. But with 4:18 left, your team down by 13. You got to make it.
This crowd making noise here at the Olympic Stadium. Bishop has time, unloads, finds Talbot. Talbot does a good job in getting away. Needed to get to the 36-yard line for the first down.
Yeah, great effort by Talbot. Even if he didn't get it, he got close enough that they'd be able to pick it up with a quarterback sneak. They just got to be so aware of the clock. I mean, 3:47, you got to get up to the line of scrimmage quickly. They should be calling their play right now and ready to run it. If any time runs off of this clock because they're not ready, that's poor clock management.
As much as we've talked about the Argos defense rising to the occasion, accepting the challenge, now is the time the Owls want a big defensive effort from their crew.
Yeah, they certainly need the big defensive effort, and they got it early by putting pressure on the quarterback, but it's not a situation where you want to do that now, because then you're vulnerable in the back end.
Remember, the Owls came out of the chute in the regular season, won 7 in a row, and looked like they were in cruise control, and then lost 6 in a row. And a lot of the blame was pointed at that defense.
Yeah, the defense let up the big plays. They brought the chains all the way out across the field and started to measure it, and they did something wrong. They had to go all the way back, regroup, set it, get the mark, and now we're going to see whether he's got the first down or not. I thought he was short, just eyeing it up, but oh, what an eye I must have. But I mean, the thing about that is now you can get it with the quarterback sneak, but that's going to run time off the clock.
I miss those kind of putts. 2 inches.
You're right, anything could happen. And if you try to get cute and go on 2 or try to draw them off sides, there's always the risk that you have the illegal procedure that'll push you back, and you absolutely don't want that. Just let Bishop do it with the quarterback sneak. They should have called 2 plays, so if they get it, they're ready to roll by the time they set the first down marker.
3:47 to play. Montreal leading by 13. The Argos inches shy of an important first down. Bishop now under the center. He's got the first down and then some.
Why he wasn't under the center to start, so you didn't lose those 6 seconds or 10 seconds, and the clock's running right now, I just don't understand. I mean, you're losing so much time right now. Don't have a play called. They're wandering around. They're waiting. The clock's running.
Well, we talked about the clock management of a veteran quarterback like Calvillo versus the inexperience of a Bishop right there. Bishop dumps it over the middle of Talbot. Talbot.
Good job getting out of the bounds. But you know what? There's more to that than just being on Bishop. The coaching staff has to let him know what he has to do. It's their responsibility. They lost 31 seconds from that play. Started with 3:47, and the coaches got to let him know. It's not good enough. Not in this magnitude of game to have that happen.
They spot the ball at the 45. Less than 3 minutes. Bishop in and out of the arms of the intended receiver, and again it's Talbot. So the Argos in trouble. As far west as you can go, Vancouver, British Columbia, BC Place Stadium, and the Lions and Rough Riders, the West final. Immediately following the game here in Montreal. Bishop out the shotgun, fires, complete. It's Miles, and Miles does well to get out of play. Flag is thrown.
I thought I saw a face mask, which will add 15 to that. And boy, has Tony Miles had a great game for the Argos today. Coming back from his foot injury, just played so well and so tough.
Major foul, face mask, Montreal number 7. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
This is why you hang in there and keep fighting. Keep fighting because you don't know what's going to happen. Great move to make Sanchez miss. And there's Bell grabbing the face mask, hung on to it a bit too long, and Tony Miles got out of bounds. Just a great play.
9th catch for Miles, 85 yards. Argos now, 1st and 10 from the Owls 33. Bishop with time, puts it up, it's a floater, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Arland Bruce, and Bruce really couldn't get position on the ball because, as I said, it was a floater. It had way too much airtime.
Yeah, you just don't know how Bruce is going to come out of that corner cut as he goes to the corner. So I think a well-thrown ball. This gives your best athlete a chance to go up and get it. And I think Strickland grabbed him a little bit. Absolutely. That's why it's worth a chance, because you got to figure Arland Bruce is not going to let it get it intercepted. It's going both ways there, but he could catch it and could get the interference call.
2:38 to play. 2nd and 10, Toronto from the 33 of Montreal. Bishop, tons of time, nobody open. Bishop has to carry it himself. Gets out of bounds. He has the first down.
Such a good job by Michael Bishop. Now he's got him down to about the 18-yard line with 2:28 left. And if you can put this in early enough, as we watch him, there's just nothing out there. I mean, everybody's tired. Defensive backs, receivers. You know, you're fighting to go to the Grey Cup, but boy, fatigue sets in too, and Bishop's just made great decisions.
Bishop, time, complete to Talbot. This time, Talbot hangs on. Down about the 6 or 7 yard line.
Get to the line. Stop arguing. Get to the line. They're all walking around like they got all the time in the world.
10th play of this drive. But the story is the scoreboard. Montreal 30, Toronto 17. 2:22 to play, 4th quarter.
Well, he had gotten the first down, so that stops it to move the change. And of course, an injury will stop it also.
Let's check in with your Rona game notes, Toronto version.
I nailed it again, Steve. Sorry. Miles to go. Tony Miles just had a great football game. 9 catches, 88 yards, a huge impact player. Defensively, don't overreact. They jumped a couple plays and they got burnt by it. I'd say the Anderson was the one with looking his eyes off to the right and throwing it back.
I bow to your geniosity as we look at the Montreal Rona game notes.
Far from it, but in the line of fire, offensive line stepped up and played so well. Only allowed 1 sack, but more importantly, opened holes for Edwards. Defensively, hit him with your best shot. They did this well all day too. 3 quarterback sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, but more importantly, they hit Damon Allen over and over and over, and actually have done the same with Bishop, since Bishop has bought more time in the pocket.
This Toronto drive started at their own 25. It's eaten up 4 minutes and 34 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, it chewed up a lot of time, but if you score this touchdown with over 2 minutes left, now you can still kick it deep. You have a timeout. If your defense does what they've been doing most of the second half, 2 and out, you got a chance. If you score with less time than that, like a minute, you got to do the onside kick.
What a game this young man has had. Michael Bishop coming in relief of Damon Allen.
He's been great, as he was last week, just making good decisions, patient. I mean, this is it. This is the coming out of Michael Bishop these last 2 games. He's got the potential to just be a tremendous quarterback in this league. And I think you're always going to wonder if the Argos come up short, why didn't he start the second half? As much as we were surprised he came in last week, everyone thought he was going to come in to start the second half, and Allen threw the pick for a touchdown.
Michael Bishop trying to cap off their longest drive of the day. Their 1st and goal from the 8. Bishop, lots of time, has a man open, but he can't hang on, but a flag is down. He was looking for R.J. Soward.
Another great throw, a catchable football. I mean, a tough catch at that, but I think they're going to get the interference, which would put it on the 1 yard line. We'll wait to hear from Jake.
Pass interference. Montreal number 11. Foul occurred in the goal area. Automatic first down at the 1 yard line.
He sees, Bishop sees he's got 1-on-1. He's got R.J. Soward on Chip Cox. Just throws it up, let my guy go get it. He has a chance to catch it, doesn't make the catch. Got the interference call, not exactly sure why. Didn't get a good look at it, but it just gets him on the 1. Stick it in, you got 2 minutes left, and you can still kick the ball deep on the kickoff.
Turns and gives Ricky Williams touchdown, Toronto.
Great drive by Bishop in this Argo offense. You know, a couple drop balls along the way, but they kept fighting, and Ricky Williams has had a heck of a day, except for that fumble, right? That's a big exception. That fumble led to the Montreal touchdown, but he's run hard and had a good day.
So now the Argos are down by a converted touchdown, 30-23. But Prefontaine narrows the gap to 6, 30-24.
They just hung in there, and they still got a chance. It's just amazing the amount of plays that have kept them in this game. Mostly it's Michael Bishop, but I think of Prefontaine and that athletic ability to get that punt off when they had called the fake. But this, if anything, represents Michael Clemens. It's the way they've hung in there this game, even if they don't pull it out. Just keep fighting.
Bishop to Talbot. Talbot dropped a couple of big passes. That time he managed to hang on. Look at Bishop's athletic ability here. Able to run with the ball, something Allen couldn't do. And then he puts it up for R.J. Sauer. He gets the interference. And then Ricky Williams goes up and over for the touchdown. It is 30-24. 2:03 remaining on the scoreboard clock here at the Olympic Stadium in the East Championship game.
Yeah, so they've scored with 2:03, so they're down 6, and you're thinking, all right, are we going to get an onside kick? I think they've scored early enough that they can kick it deep and still go for field position because they still have a timeout left. So say there's a minute 45. Listening to Damon. You know what? They got to get the ball back to do that. So it's really important that they get a 2 and out no matter what they do here. Onside kick or deep, and they go deep.
I think that may have been a wise move. Coburn gets up to the 34-yard line. A 19-yard return.
Wearing the mic. Mic'd up. Brought to you by Rogers Wireless, Canada's clearest wireless network.
We got this. We got this. We need to play. We got this. Oh, yeah, the best is yet to come. It's coming back.
Orlando Steinauer wearing the mic for us this afternoon and giving us some insight, showing his passion for the game. Edwards. And this is where you need the running and the power of Robert Edwards, brought down by O'Shea.
O'Shea and Steinauer in on that tackle. You just can't allow Edwards to pick up this first down. If anything, you got to first force Calvillo to throw it, because then you always have a chance for a sack or a pick. This is the biggest 2 and out of the game as far as the Argo defense is concerned.
2nd and 7 for Montreal from their own 38. Calvillo's going to put it up. Oh. Calvillo's got a man open. It's complete. Kerry Watkins, and that may do it.
What a call. What a call by this Alouette offense. And whether it's Strasser or Calvillo, they know it's 2nd and 7, 2nd and 8. They pump fake the slant route. Cliff Ivory bites on it, and then he goes up top. You see Ivory in trail. He ran a quick slant route. Calvillo pumped it, and then he turned it up and went deep.
Timeout, Toronto.
Pinball has called the timeout that he has remaining after a 31-yard catch and run from Kerry Watkins.
You know what I'm thinking on that is where's the free safety? Right, you got to take chances as defensive halfbacks to stop the first down, stop that intermediate stuff. But you need someone back there just for that case. I mean, yeah, Stubler's taking chances. They need to take chances, but it's a tough one to give up.
They need a turnover. 1:34 to play. Montreal up by 6. The winner goes to the Grey Cup in Winnipeg next Sunday. Calvillo under the center. Gives to Edwards. Edwards into the middle. A couple of yards maybe. But more importantly, seconds.
Yeah, they'll snap this next one with about 1:15 left. And then they'll also get it down right to about a minute and then have a decision to make on what to do with the football. As far as if they don't pick up the first down, as far as a long field goal or going for it.
Calvillo leaving 13 seconds on the play clock the last time. Didn't take it down.
but the clock had not started yet because it was a dead ball after the timeout. So here he should work it all the way down.
He just did. Edwards again into the middle of the line. Brown there to plug the hole and bring Edwards down.
I would think they would punt now. You're at 1:09, so you'll run it all the way down to about, we say 59, then we get down to about low 50s, 52 seconds. They'll run this next play. Whether it's a punt or I don't think they tried a long field goal right after seeing long field goals return so well today. But of course I'm wrong, and they'll try the long field goal.
Of course.
And this would seal the game. A 44-yard field goal. He makes it.
Damon Duval. He's got a good leg, a strong leg. Jake Ireland coming over to one of the off-field officials to discuss things.
Yeah, this is interesting because this, whatever it is, has stopped the clock. And they shouldn't really be able to restart it.
Here it's the call.
Please reset the game clock to 1:09.
Advantage Argos.
Yeah, but then they should blow the play in, and then they can use all 20 seconds, which will get them down to that 52 range. They should be able to start the clock. Yeah, they blow it in, and now it should start running, which it has not. There you go.
The kick will come from about the 44.5-yard line. Damon Duval trying to ice this one for the Owls. Make it a 9-point lead. The kick is up. And it's good. The Alouettes seconds away from going to a second straight Grey Cup in Winnipeg with a big field goal from Damon Duval.
Clutch kick by Duval, even a gutsier call by Calvillo on the slant and go to Watkins that sealed this game. Got him in field goal range and allowed Duval to make the field goal and seemingly put it out of reach. Oh, I guess he's waving goodbye to the Argos. And when you see that wave goodbye, if indeed they do seal it, is it goodbye to guys like Damon Allen? Mostly likely to Ricky Williams.
And this is what Montreal have done against BC and Saskatchewan. But Montreal have never met the Rough Riders in a Grey Cup before. Should the Rough Riders get through? Bishop completes to Arlen Bruce III. Our warrior of the game, and boy, what an interesting selection that is this afternoon.
Tough one, huh? Gotta be Robert Edwards.
Absolutely right.
Warrior of the game. Brought to you by the all-new 2007 GMC Sierra.
Excellent choice from those of you who took the time to vote for the warrior of the game this afternoon. Robert Edwards, Bishop going long, and that's an easy pick for the Alouettes. This one will go into the history books with the Owls in front of Pinball Clemens and the Argos. Etienne Boulay putting the icing on the cake for Montreal.
The Alouettes are going to the Grey Cup. On this one, the receivers just gave up on Bishop. I mean, don't fault that kid. Bishop played a great football game.
Last game in the CFL for Ricky Williams. Came to Canada with great expectations, and I think everybody would agree the last couple of games he has really risen to the occasion, but a bit of a disappointment. I think most Argo fans and all football fans across the country expected more from Ricky Williams. He goes back to the Miami Dolphins in the NFL.
Yeah, and what's going to happen with Damon Allen? Have we seen his last game in the Canadian Football League?
They've certainly got a more than adequate replacement in Michael Bishop.
That's right, and they found that out in these playoffs and only in these playoffs. So not sure what's going to happen with Damon, but if that does happen, Bishop's there.
And what a great win for Jim Pop, who replaced Don Matthews late in the season. The Owls won 7 in a row, lost 6 in a row. Matthews coached them to a win, and then Pop came in very late in the year. The game is underway in Vancouver between the Rough Riders and Lions. You'll be seeing that as soon as the final seconds tick down here in Montreal. The winner from Vancouver will go to Winnipeg and represent the West. The Alouettes are going to the Grey Cup for the 4th time in 5 years. They beat the Argos 33-24.